Yeah, my problem is when I drink too much water.
Yes, I know. We're gonna take some breaks for you as well. For those that don't know Paulie, we were gonna eat before the show, but Paul, you can't eat before a show. You want to tell us why?
Yeah, I do a complete fast of the day whenever I'm recording. And you might say that it's weak, or you might have your own opinion. I'm just saying,
bro. We barely started recording.
But you don't understand the experiences I've had in the past with my muggus and being live, and it hasn't been good. So I've learnt from my mistakes, and I try not to do it again.
And you always got a rosary wrapped around your hand.
Oh, mate, it's the only thing that gives me strength.
Yeah. That's fair enough. So, Mr. Paul Chidiac, the host of Maronite Down Under's Let's Talk About It, one of apparently the self-assessed and proclaimed Australia's number one Maronite podcast.
It is Australia's number one Maronite podcast.
It is.
It is.
Object, you've got the stats and everything.
Everything.
Awesome.
I have the people working on the numbers.
How did you start with that?
So...
Actually, before you start, look, I have this remote here on the table for a reason. I want to do a little shout-out to my boy Hadi, who sorted out air conditioning for our studio. For those that have watched the Dr. Robert Haddad episode, forgive me, you'll see we both had a little bit of sweat on the forehead. It was a very hot day. It was 5 p.m. in the afternoon.
I think it was a little bit more than a little bit.
It was a little bit more than a little bit. But obviously, Dr. Rob Haddad powered through for over 3 hours. But now we've got air conditioning. I was hoping today would be a hot day so we can flex it a little bit. But can verify it's working well. Room's nice and cool.
Perfect.
So shout out to Hadi for sorting that out for me.
Thank God.
Sorry to interrupt, Paulie. Tell us, how did you get started in the Maronite Down Under space?
It's a good question. It's actually a funny story. The podcast was a complete accident, which a lot of people don't believe. So
just bring that a bit closer. Try and keep it like an inch away.
Yeah.
You might have to adjust it, straighten the whole thing. Here, just do that.
Like that?
And then just tip it up towards, that's it.
Perfect. All right. So I started a page called Maronite Down Under on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole purpose of this page was strictly English Maronite content. I was getting a little bit fed up with a lot of us Maronites sending content which wasn't even Catholic, but yet Maronite. And then I realized we never actually had anything for that. So I started a page, and the intention wasn't a podcast. The intention was always, let me grab some talks, whether it's, Francis, or I started with Father Maurice, which is a superior at St. John the Beloved.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get
you started with homilies.
This way we started talks and homilies, and I would get that. And I was reaching out to priests who I knew who spoke English well. Father Shabo was one of them. And
Father Shabo Dib.
Father Shabo Dib, yes, from
Our Lady.
So I was reaching out to Father Shabo, and I kept asking him if I can record his homilies, and maybe Our Lady can do the live stream for his mass, and I can use that. And he was all on board. But he used to say, just remind me on Sunday and I'll get them to do it. So Sunday would come, I'll remind him. Oh, sorry, bro, I forgot I'm not serving mass this Sunday, next week. And then the next week I will remind him. He goes, we have an Azar. They don't really want it recorded. Next week. And the next week is like, oh yeah, I'm serving mass, but I'm not doing the homily. Do it next week. And then eventually I just got a little bit fed up. And because I've been involved with St. John the Beloved in the past and somewhat still am, I was involved as well with the Voice of Charity. So then I just thought, you know what, instead of waiting for his homilies, let's bring his homilies. Let's bring his content, his wisdom. So I called Vera from the Voice of Charity, and I said, next Wednesday, can I just book in an episode? She goes, what is it? I said, I don't know, just call it Maronite Down Under. That was the name of the Instagram page. So then we booked it for the Wednesday. I called Father Shabs. This was all booked without him knowing.
Yeah.
Called Father Shabo, and I said, next Wednesday night, you're free? And he goes, yeah, why? I said, let's just do a Q&A. And then from there, we'll grab some content, we'll make some reels, and then we'll push through that way. One episode happened, and it kind of blew up. It grabbed traction straight away, and people were asking for a second episode. So then we did a second episode a few weeks later, and the same thing happened. People were asking for more. People were approaching Father Charbel. The response was unbelievable. Thank God. Always thank God. And after that, we ended up having a bit of a meeting, and we spoke, and we decided that this might be a need, something that we should continue to do. And I think we both agree, considering basically tripped over and started this thing.
Yeah.
It's a work of God. You know, so that's where we are. And now we've just approached our second year, season 2.
So now it's a regular podcast every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks we run it. We try to get different guests, talk about different agendas.
Yeah.
We're always open to any ideas on any specific agenda. Same thing happens that we did in the first episode where we'll set out an agenda, a post. We'll try grab as many questions as we can. The concept behind not only creating the reels is when we're talking about our faith, the name of the show is called Let's Talk About It. And the concept is there's nothing taboo that we can't discuss. Nothing's off the table. If there's a genuine question, we shouldn't be afraid to ask it. And me and Father Shabs, we're quite light on the show. We have a bit of a laugh, which is always good, very relatable, and that's where we take it. So
I've never heard anyone say taboo.
Taboo.
Isn't it taboo?
Tomato, does it really matter?
No, I'm just asking.
Honestly, does it matter?
It matters to me. You're a special person to me. So
taboo.
Yeah, nothing's taboo. No, that's good. And now you're your second season running. This is something you're going to keep doing. What else does Maronite Down Under do now? Because Let's Talk About It is the fortnightly podcast. What else are you guys doing?
So we've also got another segment, we can call it, with Subdeacon Eddie Sullen. And that's every week. We will record in advance, and it's a 2-minute Bible study where it's Jesus prophesied in the Old Testament. It's not so much in order, but he would run through every week a different prophecy and a different, prophesy. He prophesies Jesus from the Old Testament. He will give us the Catholic look on that, what it means for Maronite Catholics, and that's also going really well. We've also been approached by a couple of parishes last year, and we're hoping again this year, fingers crossed, if there's a need for it, where we've actually gone and set up a live Q&A where, you know, we'll take Father Charbel, subdeacon. We've even did it with the bishop, which was really cool because we didn't think that the bishop knew about what we were doing up until that point. And we're trying to expand any way we can to keep releasing English Maronite content, but original content, you know, doing what we can. So we thank God always, and it's been going really well. And we're always open to ideas. So one of the other ways is recording your talks. I know you've got the Francis Tamer show, but you've also ventured out a little bit in what you're doing. And,
I have.
You know, those rules. So it's the same thing. You know, you will release a reel. You're a Maronite. You're speaking at a Maronite church. That's Maronite content. You collab with us. We help you share that. That's the whole point. It's not about it's not about myself or, you know, even Father Charbel did. We're trying to look at a bigger picture. Yeah.
And you guys, was it, I think Thursday you hit 8,000 followers.
Yeah, we hit 8,000, which is really good.
Big milestone.
Yeah, 8,000, and it would be just over 12 months.
Yeah.
My target was 10,000, so we're a little bit short.
So you failed.
I did.
Yeah.
But I'm not too upset.
It's a good sort of failure, you know.
Thanks,
you fell forward.
Listen, is this going to be the whole episode?
What?
Are you just going to wait for an
Am
opening?
I going to be honest?
No, are you just
going to
be
honest and upfront? Listen, I don't know what happens on Maronite Down Under.
You know exactly what happens. You've been on twice.
I have been on twice. But I'm going to say I don't know what happens behind the scenes, but here on the Francis Tamer Show, we pride ourselves on honesty and just being upfront about what we're feeling and what we're thinking. If anything, I'm holding back, Paul, because as some people know, you and I have a bit of history. You're someone who's been just a perpetual penance in my life for some time, which I'm grateful for. We should always be. Look what I have to drink from now, which I'm grateful for.
It's your own stupidity. That's why.
Yeah. Look, just poor attention to detail. Not all of us have a team of 35 people, you know, helping us on our show. Just so people know, when I go on the Maronite Down Under show, there's one room where the podcast is being recorded, and then look how full this bottle is. Who's stupid? The one who filled this up. That's what I reckon.
I think the one that ordered it, if you're going to ask
Probably.
me.
Look at this.
But
ridiculous. Yeah, so there's the one the room, the studio where you're recording, and then in the other room, there's like 7 people listening live and noting down, you know, different things that they're going to cut up and use, and you got a whole team. And I heard there's just a rumor that apparently you had your team sign contracts.
So we put together a code of conduct on anyone that is a part of our team. So yes, it is true. Thanks, Francis.
Yeah. What's this contract entail?
So it entails a few things.
Or what can you reveal about it, I should say?
So because we are representing the Maronite Church and we are using the word Maronite, we want to, on a technicality, we're probably not under the eparchy, but we are because we're using the word Maronite. We just want to ensure that anyone who's officially part of the team, that they are somewhat practicing in their faith, being cautious about what they post on social media, understanding that having the brand with the word Maronite and being somewhat on in a certain aspect in the forefront of the faith and helping evangelize, that they must be prudent in what they do and how they act. If they're imprudent, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Imprudent?
Yeah.
It might actually very well affect the church. So speaking...
In the sense that they can bring the church's image and reputation
of course.
into question or scandal, or bring the church into disrepute.
Of course, which is one of the questions why they've still allowed me to do this, but that's all right.
I would agree with you there. Yeah.
I thought I'd bet you to that. So it was more just...
But look, it does speak to a wider thing generally. Anyone who's involved in the church, you can't see yourself as acting alone because your actions are a reflection on the church, you know?
Well,
and so all of us, whether it's me with my talks, as soon as you're associated with the church, whether directly or indirectly, you have to be careful of, you know, what you can do to the reputation of the church.
100%. Subdeacon Eddie on one of the episodes said it amazingly. He goes, we are ambassadors of Christ. That's what St. Paul said. And it's very true. By virtue of baptism, by virtue of being part of the church, whatever you do, you reflect the church.
Yeah.
And for people outside of it who are viewing you as the ambassador of Christ, when you're not acting accordingly, you're not just like, oh, it's just me. No, you are the ambassador of how a Christian should be. And in return, that could reflect quite poorly. So with the code of conduct, it very, very basic things, but so we're all held accountable. You know, we don't want people posting certain things on social media in regards to things that could affect the, let's say, the face in the church. I don't want, let's say, Chris to jump on if he's just cracked the shits with something the bishop said and be like, hey, you know,
don't attack the church hierarchy publicly.
There's no need for it. And between that and certain things that, you know, if we're holding an event, we just want you to be somewhat respectful of the environment where we are, things like that. So we're all held accountable. That's the contract we've put in play, and everyone had no objections. They all following it regardless. So
well, you would hope so, yeah.
They have been.
Yeah.
So we've got a good team behind us, and like I said from the very start, we tripped over and started this. So we thank God, and we want to always ensure that we're moving forward in the right direction.
Yeah, I think some people seem to think that if you're going to be involved at church, as long as when you're at church you're behaving yourself, it's all well and good. But it's not actually quite enough, in the sense that anyone who is engaging in public sin is automatically bringing scandal to the church if they're involved at church.
Yeah.
And as our hierarchy who run the church have every right to not allow someone to take a role within the church if they are living or acting in public sin. So what does that mean? We've got private sins which aren't made public, and everyone's a sinner. Everyone's on their own spiritual journey. Everyone's seeking the sacrament of reconciliation, I hope, and seeking spiritual direction. That's great. You can still help at church. But if I want to be on the youth committee, but it's known that, you know, on the weekends I get up to some pretty heinous things and I share it online and everyone knows about it, then the church is well within its right to say, hey, Francis, you can't, because of what you're promoting yourself to be doing publicly, you can't actually be on the committee anymore. Do you think we do that enough as a church? Or let me rephrase. Do you think the people have an issue with that?
What do you mean?
Do you think lay people think
people?
that, like, do you think lay people generally have an issue with the hierarchy preventing people who are living or acting in public sin from being involved?
I can't comment too much, only because I can't think of an example where the lay people have reacted in a certain way. I think as a hierarchy of the church, they're always going to cop the bad end of the stick anyway, regardless. I think people, and I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think a lot of people have a fire in them that sometimes if they don't feel that the hierarchy of the church is fueling, they look to certain people to fuel those fires. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm just talking about as a generalization. I think anything that reflects poorly on the church, anything that takes someone away from the church is bad for the church, full stop, regardless whether they're preaching about Christ or preaching about anything. If the church is the bridegroom of Christ, then them two are one. There is no separation. So taking someone away from the church is essentially taking someone away from Christ. The lay people need to really understand that, and this is where I think where if people are looking outside of the church, then we can have that dilemma. Does that answer the question? Does it not?
No, I think so. I guess my issue is it's very easy for people to say, you know what, everyone's a sinner. The church is a hospital for the spiritually sick, and everyone's welcome. And it's true, everyone is welcome. But there are a few conditions there.
Self-interpretation's the best. So
what do you mean?
As in what you just said. So you can say that, and I can interpret that in a sense, well, if everyone's a sinner, I can just continue to sin.
Yes,
Self-interpretation of what you're saying.
But my issue is not that those things are necessarily false, but there are conditions. For example, the church is actually for the spiritually sick who are seeking the church's help. So we can't come into the church with all our brokenness and say, I don't want the church's help. I want to do things my way. No, because all you're going to do is make other people spiritually sick too, to continue the analogy. And so the church doesn't have a responsibility to welcome everyone. The church has a responsibility to welcome everyone that seeks the church or is open to the church. But if someone's coming into the church with a pure intent to turn people away from the ways of the church, then yeah, they're not welcome. Sounds a bit harsh.
Nor should they be.
Nor should they be. No. Someone's coming into your house and saying, hey, I'm not here to respect the rules of your house. I'm here to cause dissent, And we saw this a few years ago across some of the churches. It was primarily an issue with like the village, the Karam. I love the Karam, mind you. I'm just saying it was an issue within the Karam where there was like all these sort of backyard Bible studies, things happening, and some of these people were coming to our churches and speaking these anti-Catholic doctrines, because that's what they are. And it's like, no, you can't do that. You can't come into my house and our Lord's house and intend to cause dissent and then continue to use the word Maronite.
We actually spoke about this. This was not part of the agenda on my last episode, but we spoke about it exactly in those words, backyard Bible studies, because throughout the day I actually caught up with someone, an old friend, bumped into him at a cafe, and they were telling me about how these backyard Bible studies are still happening, and now her, relative, I'm not going to point fingers or direct it towards anyone, but her relative now is not going to baptize his daughter.
Because they don't believe in infant baptism.
Well, whatever they believe or don't believe, and then this man doesn't go to church, and they are seeking people from within the church, painting a picture that what they're doing is backyard Bible studies. They're studying the Bible, so what could be so wrong with that? And then the question comes, well, if I'm getting this in the backyard, why do I need a priest? And they completely cut the church.
Yeah.
Completely. And the question then comes is they can claim that, okay, well, we're preaching the Gospels, we're preaching Christ, but what Christ are you preaching? Because it's two different Christs. Either one started a church or he didn't. And if all the sacraments which are instituted by Christ are not there, then I'm sorry, but I don't mean to offend, but it needs to be said, and I don't know if you're going to disagree with me, but it's a separate Christ that they're preaching. And I think that's the scary part.
Yeah, it is scary. It is scary. I think in the last probably 2 months, I've had countless questions when I encounter people at the parishes, people who attend Maronite parishes, well-meaning, well-intentioned Maronites, and some of them non-Maronites who just come to Maronite parishes, which is great. And they ask these questions, like why, what's the big deal about this? What's the big deal about that? Why is the church so set on, things like all the external stuff, the liturgy, the this, the that, And it's like, well, no, the liturgy came before anything, my friend. The liturgy came before the Bible as we know it.
External.
You know? Yeah. They call it external, you know. And I had someone say to me, oh, you know, I go to this guy, he teaches the Bible. And he's a Maronite, and he teaches the Bible. He's really good. And would you ever come hear him speak? And I was just like, well.
No.
Well, it's like, well, no, it's not that I wouldn't. It's not that I, honestly, Paul, it's not that I wouldn't. I'm happy to hear him speak. But my question is, what is he saying that the church hasn't said?
Well, where is the church lacking?
Yeah, exactly. Where is the church lacking? And so this person said, but Francis, this, you know, the way he speaks, it speaks to my life. When he speaks, it's relevant to me. Anyway, and I thought that's a very interesting thought. Like that's a very interesting reason to resonate with a speaker, because what they're saying resonates with you. And then I just started speaking. I completely made up. I got to remember what I said to her, because I completely made up a statement. And you know what? I've got to try and remember, because I made up this whole thing for like 4 minutes.
What was the point of the statement, though?
And the point of the statement is I can say something completely false that you're going to resonate with.
Okay.
You know? And so I just kept speaking, you know, in this real impassioned way. And she goes, yeah, exactly. And I said, yeah, I completely made that up, you know. And mind you, we were speaking privately, so I wasn't embarrassing her in front of people. And, you know, we have a good relationship. So this wasn't some, you know, stranger who I'm, you know, trying to ridicule, because I don't believe in ridiculing people, but contrary to popular belief, I should say. But it's this whole like, oh, they resonate with me. And it's very simple. Look, you want to go listen to a preacher, start with 2 questions for them. Okay? 2 questions. Firstly, is Jesus Christ present, body, blood, soul, and divinity, in the Eucharist at Mass? If they don't say yes, a one-word answer yes, just walk away. If they see, some of them won't say no. Some of them be like, listen, you know, the Eucharist is, you know, the communion, and we receive and we unite. And they come up with some, no, stop there. It's a yes or no question. Anyone who is a Catholic and is worth listening to.
Are they your keys?
They are my keys.
Okay.
Anyone who is a Catholic and is worth listening to, they will say yes. That's it. They won't qualify it. They'll just say yes.
All right. So we're sitting here and we're bashing
I'm not bashing anyone.
the backyard Bible studies. No, I'm bashing the backyard Bible studies.
Okay.
Cut it out. If they're not in line with the church,
Yeah.
stay away from the body of Christ. But you are not a clergy member.
Yeah.
And you hold talks.
Yeah.
You have your own show.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
The difference is, firstly, I encourage anyone who's ever heard me say something contrary to any Catholic doctrine, let me know and I will issue a publicly recorded apology. That's the first thing. And that's my disclaimer. You've been to my talks. That's my disclaimer almost before every talk that I do. Hey, I'm here merely to pass on what the church has always taught. The church, the catechism, the saints, encyclicals, whatever it is, whatever the source, and just pass it on to you in a way that you can digest and apply to your life. If at any point I contradict the church, I concede that I am wrong and I'll apologize. That's it. That's the first thing. The second thing is I'm always in submission to my church and its hierarchy. Almost all of my talks are at church. I do record content that's not quite literally in the church, but all of my talks are at church. All of those talks, there are usually someone from the clergy is present, and I always start with that disclaimer. So you don't have to be a clergy member to speak about the faith. If you want to speak about the faith, you just got to make sure you don't contradict the faith. That's it. And if you're not sure, very simply, you say, I don't know, which I do all the time. I've been asked questions in a talk in front of 70 people, and I say, honestly, I have no idea. Someone the other day said, Francis, what's the difference between pity and compassion? I said, honestly, I have no idea. I said, this is a Googleable question, you know. If you ask me, I'm just going to Google it. You just go Google it. We're done. You know, I don't like spin up some explanation just to sound smart, you know.
I like it. You always say at the start of your talks, you go, well, this isn't my words. I'm reading off, you know, St. Ignatius of Antioch or St. Francis of Assisi said this, and you're just mimicking. And then I'll take my hat off when credit's due, Francis.
Thank you,
You
Paul.
go, all right.
I'm actually going to get some merch done. It's going to be a little bit controversial, and you'll
no.
see why. I'm going to get some merch done that says I'm infallible, right? And the reason I want to get merch done that says I'm infallible, because I want to reaffirm that I'm simply speaking to the infallibility of the church, But then people get annoyed. It's like they already think I'm this obnoxious. You know what?
I thought that.
You probably still do sometimes, which is fine.
No. I just think you're an arsehole. I don't think you're obnoxious anymore.
But you know what? What did you think when you first met me, Paul? Let's go there.
When did I first meet you? Okay, I actually know when I first met you. It was the great debate, your first ever great debate. I've never met this bloke. I've never met him. He rocks up on his power trip. And,
I'm going to crack this open. Shout out to Simon.
Sounds good. So you rock up in your little power trip, first ever great debate. First time Francis has been in any place of authority, thinking that he runs the show. And you always talk about the first ever great debate. Thank you. And you say that, the first time people were clapping, there was once where we read the teachings of the church out, and there were certain people that never moved from one place to another. They were both me. You just never knew me back then.
Yeah. I knew of you, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Father John had spoken quite positively. He saw potential in you as a future coordinator quite early on.
Regardless, thank you. Thanks, Father John.
Cheers, bro. Welcome.
Thank you. That actually is very nice. Well, we finished a great debate, and I thought this bloke is an absolute arsehole. Nothing else. I just didn't
Why
like
is that?
Why is that?
Yeah.
Stuff, power trip, red beard.
Is that how I walk, do I?
All the time. No, you can't do that. Time out. 10 minutes.
Is that what I did?
Yeah, full dictator.
Yeah.
You know the movie The Dictator? That's what you look like.
I've been told I run like the guy from The Dictator too, which is a far worse insult. But was that great debate? There was order, wasn't there?
Somewhat.
Yeah. There was order.
That's only because I never tried to create disorder.
That's because you couldn't.
I could have.
I had the
I chose
power.
not to.
So you thought I was an obnoxious bit of an asshole?
I thought that.
Yeah.
I thought you were very direct. It's like, and mind you, this is what it was. You were reading the teachings of the church, and I still never believed you because you said it. But that was just back then. That's
like a real that we say in Arabic. Like you got direct beef.
I just didn't like you.
Yeah. And how long did that last?
Probably about 6 years. No, I'm joking.
Jeez.
No. That was just the first impression. I was wrong. I can admit when I was wrong.
Yeah.
I try not to judge. I
think I'm a nice guy. I think I've been a nice guy for some time now. I don't know. You're not the first one to say this either.
Yeah, it's all right. I know I'm not the first one to say this. People have said it to me, and I've said, I know the bloke's just something's not right.
Yeah.
I can admit when I'm wrong. I don't think I was wrong here.
Yeah.
But it was like that till we actually sat down and we started having a few conversations and and then it was just understanding. It wasn't even about who you are. It was just understanding your views and everything you say. Mind you, I was trying to find the faith from back then.
This was 2019.
Yeah. Well, I never.
That was the first great debate.
Yeah, so it would have been. So I was still finding my way into it. I hadn't grown up very much in the church, and
you weren't a regular mass goer?
No, actually not at all. Father Yusuf is actually the first priest that ever knew my name.
Really?
Yeah, and that was maybe 6 years ago. And so finding the faith, I was. What's that noise? Can you hear it?
Birds outside.
Okay. I went to the great debate and that was it. Then after a few more conversations with you, kind of eased up to you, but he still thought you were a bit of a hard ass, But that's just who
Pretty
you
sure
are.
that was 90% of the youth at St. John's for a good few years.
I would say more than 90%.
Yeah, I was trying to be generous, give 10%.
I'm not giving you nothing.
Remember the buses?
What about them?
The Holy Thursday buses?
One bus.
So we just so everyone listening. You know what? I can see why they're traumatized by me. But what was it? Maybe 2021 or 22 when I was still on the committee, and we had the 7 churches. And for those listening, I'd never gone on 7 churches with a church. I'd always just do my own thing. Now I'm on the committee, Abuna, please, Francis, please, we want you to lead something. I said, Abuna, if I do it, I'm doing it my way. Yeah, but mother duck, whatever you want, we'll do it your way. Okay, cool. And so we get...
Can I just interject? This is a period of time, just so that people know, where I'm coordinator and you're spiritual coordinator.
Yeah.
All right? So we're working together for this.
No, didn't it happen when Belinda was still coordinator?
Are you talking about Belinda's time or my time?
No, it was Belinda's time. The first time when they really, copped their first dose of trauma, yeah. So we got like 60 bookings for this, 55 or 60 we fill up the bus. And after Holy Thursday Mass, everyone gets on the bus and I'm waiting for everyone to go and then I go up. And I say, just so you guys know, this isn't going to be some social gathering. There will be no talking when we're on the road. There'll be no singing. There'll be no dancing. I don't know what you guys got up to in previous years. There won't be a McDonald's stopover. We're not going to get back at 5 o'clock in the morning because we had a good night out. This is not what's happening. Christ tonight is in captivity. If you're not going to join him, at least pretend like you care. Like it was bad, yeah. Anyway,
the biggest power trip. You can't give you any power.
Yeah. Look, it worked because, and then the door of the bus closed, and all these people like, what have we done? There were all these younglings as well who had come, thinking, my parents will let me go out late with my friends. Now they're all sitting there silently. Now people were allowed to whisper to each other, but as soon as it got too loud, I would turn around and I'd be like, "Listen, we're all speaking too loud," and it was just like prayer after silence, prayer, silence. We did bring food and give everyone like some manouche or something.
I'm surprised you let people eat.
Look, if it was up to me, they wouldn't have been eating. That was me conceding. That was me compromising. And even when we were getting down, to go to each church and coming back on the bus, it was like silence.
All right. So when you're telling these stories, can you see why people think, or at least thought, obnoxious Francis go hand in hand?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I get it. But then we had some people have really positive feedback, and then some people actually wanted to stab me. And they didn't wait long to tell me. Like, we got off that night. Now we're at the church. It's Holy Thursday night. Again. And it's, Francis, why would you do this? And it was too much. And people are telling me this. I'm like, what people? No one told me. He goes, yeah, because no one wants to tell you. They were too scared to come and tell me. Anyway, the next year, during the Lenten series, I start building up, hey, Holy Thursday. And on the committee, they say, Francis, last year you didn't warn anyone what it's going to be like. I was like, that's a fair point. Let me really think about how we're going to go about it. And so the week before, I said, look, next week we've got our 7 churches. We received a lot of feedback after last year about how it was done.
I was coordinated at this point.
Yeah, I believe so. And I said, and I can confirm it is not going to be any different. This time, though, we're warning you. We are letting you know, if you're hoping to have a good time, don't get on the bus. Now, the bookings just flew. We booked out the first 60. Now, there's that bus that we have at St. John's, that rundown bus, which is barely registered. No, it is registered, but, probably barely. And we say we're going to take a second bus that fits 20. So we got the main bus that fits 60 and then the second one that fits 20 for the overflow. The second bus is for the overflow. Anyway, after Holy Thursday Mass, everyone's going to the bus. People are lining up for the second bus first.
And who's on the second bus?
And who's leading the second bus? Mr. Paul Chidiac. And I just thought, you grubs. How about we swap buses, Paul?
Do you know what I did? On the bus, right, when people were mucking around, I was threatening them by sending them to your bus. You know that, right? Like, do you want to jump in Francis's bus? Keep talking.
Yeah. They dodged a bullet there. And then our bus, like some of them would every now and then look at the other bus and just think, wow, I wish I was there.
I just want to know what would run through your head. So when you're sitting on the bus and you know that everyone's got the shits with you.
Not everyone.
Not everyone.
Especially the second time, there are a lot of new faces as well. A lot of people came. Paul, there are a lot of people that don't go on 7 churches pilgrimages because they feel like it's a waste of time and honey.
I'm not disagreeing with why you did it. I agree with why you did it.
I'm talking about the reception as well. A lot of people want that as well.
Okay, then 7 churches put aside. I'm just asking as a generalization, right? Yeah. Like I first met you, I thought something about this bloke. You run the 7 churches, you're sitting at the front, you're like, no one's allowed to talk.
Yeah.
People will kind of...
Yeah.
What runs through your head?
I don't care.
Don't care?
No.
At all?
No, I'll tell you why I don't care, because firstly, this is my 7 churches night. You want me to give up my night to run this thing, and it's going to take me away to some degree from my own prayer? My first thing is I want it to be prayerful for me, okay? The second thing is you guys are coming here. As soon as you agree to come on this pilgrimage, you're agreeing to do the pilgrimage as it's meant to be done. Now, just to be fair, I didn't quite literally say silence. You're allowed to talk quietly to the person next to you. That was
How many
about it.
decimals?
Quite low, yeah. I didn't want to have to hear it.
Did you walk? You would have walked around with the decimal
I
reader
did
as
check,
well.
yeah.
You would have.
And there were a few like under 18s that got permission from their parents to come. I moved them, I split them up. I made them sit with randoms, berated them. I told them, you won't be back next year. Lucky for them, I wasn't back next year. But what goes through my head is, honestly, you're here because you want to go on this pilgrimage, this spiritual journey with Christ. If not tonight, then when are you willing to give up this inclination you have to socialize and chat to your friends? You have all year round to do it. This is the issue I have with Passion Week is when things happen during Passion Week, whether it's like excessive socialization and people like playing music and dancing and all these things. It's like just wait till Sunday. We know the end of the story. The spoilers. We know what happens.
We know when we can start celebrating.
He
as
will
well.
resurrect on Sunday. Absolutely, send it. But until then, leading up to Good Friday, if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for the people around you who are trying to have some semblance of penance and prayerfulness about their Lent and Passion Week as they lead into it. So, do I have any regrets? Of course not. Can I see why some people are a little bit traumatized? I can.
You know what? You can also thinking back at it, right? And as you're talking about it, we can probably see that, okay, when people say things like, oh, Francis doesn't like anything social, Francis doesn't like when we play music, because people do say these things.
Do they?
Usually I just feel it, but like, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I know. I don't even say that. You're like, can you believe that, bloke? Are you serious? Usually it's me spreading it, to be honest. But you can see why, but when you're actually speaking about it, when we're talking Passion Week and you're talking Holy Thursday, Good Friday, we should be in prayer. We should be. I have no disagreements. Even when you were running it. How do you say in Arabic? Metal mabarkun. What is it?
Metal mabaddak.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Don't post that. Don't do that.
I didn't say anything.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. You mean like whatever you want?
Yeah, like as in any way you're running it.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Because they were
it's
actually
supposed to be challenging. That's the point. It's not supposed to be easy. You're supposed to feel challenged during Lent, especially during Holy Week. It shouldn't just be another day. Hey, we're going to go to church every night, get some manush, hang out with my friends, and the next thing you know, it's Easter Sunday. Al Masih Qam.
Qam.
It shouldn't feel that blasé. It needs to be difficult. But what I would also say is a lot of the people that did have issue, it wasn't until a couple years later they were like, you know what, I can see why.
You were right.
I can see why you went about this way. I'm not right. The church is right. The church is right when it says we should do penance, prayer, almsgiving, and fasting. We did the 48-hour fast as a church. We had like 30 people sign up to it. 30 people didn't eat a single thing from Thursday night to Saturday night. That's phenomenal. A lot of people pushed themselves, challenged themselves, and offered it up to our Lord. Like that's how it should be. I remember the second year or the third year I think it was second year that I did 7 churches. Afterwards, I spent some time in the church on my own after we got back to St. John's. And then I walked out and I saw a group of the youth sitting outside the souvenir shop. There would have been about 15 of them, 20 of them. And I just thought, you know what? It's been a long night. Everyone's done what they need to do. I'll just go say hi and bye, say goodnight. And then I just walk over, and as I get closer, they all go silent and just look. And I said, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt anyone. I just came to say goodnight. Don't worry. You can speak when Sir leaves now, It was almost like they were worried I was going to tell them they're doing something wrong.
You shouldn't be talking.
You shouldn't be talking at all on Holy Thursday night. But I get it. Look, you got to sometimes bring the intensity a little bit. And sometimes it takes a little while before some people recognize, hey, you know what? Maybe there's a method to this guy's madness. Man, you should have seen some of the committee meetings.
Reason for his madness.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We had some big arguments at times, and Some of them that will tell you, man, I hated him. Like he told me, there was one that told me, Francis, when you joined the committee, man, I couldn't stand you.
Was that me?
No, someone else. You think you're the only one? No. And this guy said, it took me, like, this was 6 months later. He's like, but now I get it. It was just a lot changed when you joined, you know.
I think everyone's on different paths through their journey back to the church.
Yeah.
And I think when they encounter someone like you, when I encountered you, when you're still early on, you're still understanding, you're still grasping the concept that the church is always right. You still haven't fully embraced that concept yet.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Francis Tamer comes along and says, you know, whisper in the bus and you can't do this and you can't do that. And you're sitting here thinking, why?
Yeah.
You don't understand. But coming with those views, and you've said it a few times, you're not going to see it until later on.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the church's teachings, you may not understand today. But if you keep
You have to
pursuing,
trust.
if you keep pursuing the truth, keep pursuing the faith, you will understand.
Yeah.
Whether it may not be tomorrow in the next 12 months, but eventually you will. And that's the beautiful thing about it.
And you got to, and they got to, what I wanted from the youth, and I believe they did that, is stop limiting yourself when you consider what you're capable of. What do I mean by that? It's like, take the retreat. When I was planning the retreat, you know, and God bless Abuna Yusuf, literally just, he was like a bulldozer paving the way for me. And he just, Francis, whatever you do, you have the green light. He would obviously sign off on everything. We followed due process. And I always maintained, I always wanted his approval because he is the chaplain. But it was always, Francis, he just bulldozed the way. And I'm organizing this retreat, and I tell him we're going to do silent time for 4 hours. And all hell breaks loose. 4 hours of silence, what do you think this is? I said, listen, just trust me. Just trust me. All you have to do is trust me once. After that, you can get rid of me. You guys can oust me if you want. You can demand, and I will resign myself. Just trust me. So we do this retreat, and this retreat goes phenomenally. And then the silent time starts. And I warned him. I said, listen, the first 3 hours you're going to struggle, and then you're going to get into this zone. And then when it's over, you're going to say, is it over already? And that's exactly what happened. And so all these people that had an issue with the silent time either regretted they didn't use it more wisely or surprised themselves that they were able to actually sit there in silence and not just blow it all on a nap for 4 hours or something like that, but actually be silent and reflective and pray and read and maybe just sit and watch the fire or go sit out and look at the scenery or whatever it is. You know, so like it's important for everyone. Just challenge yourself. You're capable of a lot more than you realize. How many people think they can't go half a day without eating? You think you can't go half a day?
Of course,
yeah.
Half a day,
People say, oh, if I don't eat, I get, angry and hangry and this and that. And stop making excuses. That's not what happens. That's not what happens. You have simply lived in too much comfort. You have taught yourself and your body that the only way it can be comfortable is if everything's going great. So what you need to do is fast more and deny yourself more, such that you become a good, well-meaning, compassionate, kind person, even when the environment around you isn't amazing. That's the goal. We did that 48-hour fast. All these people, we reached 48 hours. Some of them were like, oh, I might do another day. I said, no, brother. That's what we call spiritual pride. It's Easter Sunday. You are not fasting for another day. You've missed the point. But the point is they realized they could do so much more than they initially thought. And when I started fasting, I remember my first 40-hour fast. I thought it was a legitimate miracle. I was like, I just went 2 nights without eating. How was that possible? And then I did a 48-hour, and then I did a 3-day, then I did a 4-day, then I did a 5-day, then I did a 6-day. And now I'm like, something's broken, man. I feel like science is broken. But really, we've just become conditioned in so many things that we do, and we think there is no other way to go about it. And lo and behold, after 2,000 years, the church is still right.
Thank God.
Yeah.
So you've done 6-7 day.
I haven't hit 7 days.
Okay,
before.
so 6 days.
Yeah.
So, do you know where I'm going with this?
No.
No. Okay, beautiful. You want to during your fast?
Yeah.
I think a couple of years back, something interesting happened.
Oh yeah, when I ended up,
allow me to say it. Can you please
allow me to say it.
Mr. Francis Tamer, Mr.
Yeah.
Dictator himself, can you please let everyone know about the night you got arrested.
That night that I got arrested.
The night you got arrested.
Listen, mate, my whole life I feel like I'm being trolled by God. I think God watches me, and then he looks around to the angels and saints. He goes, watch this. You guys want to have a laugh? You guys want to have a laugh? Watch what I'm going to do to this guy. So I fast essentially every Passion Week. Every year I sort of increase by a day. It's just a personal thing that I do. And a couple of years ago, I did my own 7 churches. It wasn't even 7. It was like 3. Visited a few churches. And usually I'm always home really late on the Thursday night. So Friday morning, I don't go with my family to Adoration of the Cross. And then I go in the afternoon. I thought, you know what? This year's going to be different. I want to get home at a reasonable time, get to bed, and go to Adoration of the Cross with my family in the morning. So we did some carpooling. I made some drop-offs. My last drop-offs was in the hills area. And then I'm just driving home. I'm driving home, and then there's a RBT, random breath test. And so I pull into this. They ask me to pull in. I pull in.
It's my favourite story, by the way.
Officer says to me, hey, mate, you had anything to drink tonight? I said, nah, man, nothing. He goes, all right, count to 10 for me. I was like, I can do that. I count to 10, I'm not even finished. I just hear a beep. He goes, wait 1 second for me. He goes and comes back, and now he's got the machine. He attaches the thing on it. He's like, he goes, look, it's clocked over. It could just be your cologne or something. I'm just going to get you to blow into this until I tell you to stop. Make sure you really blow into it. And then when I say stop, you can stop. So I blow into the machine. He beeps again. He sort of looks at it, looks at me, and then he's got this camera on his chest, and then he just turns it on. He goes, mate, I'm just letting you know I'm now recording audio and visual. You're under arrest for driving under the influence. I'm going to need you to turn off your vehicle, collect your belongings, and please step out onto the sidewalk. By this point, I'm just laughing. I was like, sorry?
I like how you're telling this story while we're having a bourbon.
While we're having a drink.
Jeez.
I said, sorry? I said, sorry, mate, listen, you're barking up the wrong tree. I said, not only have I had nothing to drink, I haven't ate or drank anything for 3 days. He's like, nothing. I was like, except for the Eucharist. That's it. He goes, mate, I just got to go by the numbers. I'm going to need you to please take your stuff and get on the sidewalk. No worries. So I grab my stuff, my keys, my phone. Now I'm standing on the sidewalk. He's processing something. This other officer comes over. He's like, oh, hey, mate, well, what do you have to drink tonight? I was like, absolutely nothing. He goes, what'd you get up to tonight? I said, I just visited some churches. It's Holy Thursday, so we visit churches. It's part of our tradition. And he goes, you had nothing to drink. I said, look, I'm going to tell you what I told the other guy. I've had absolutely nothing to eat or drink.
Besides water,
for 72 hours, except for the Eucharist. And mind you, that night at Mass, they ran out of the blood to dip it in. So it was quite literally
there was no blood.
There was no blood. And he's like, that's it. I was like, yeah, that's it. And he looks at me and he goes, you don't look intoxicated. You don't smell intoxicated. You're not, you seem in full control. You seem quite focused. I'm like, mate, like I told him, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm not your guy. He goes, look, mate, we got to go by the numbers. Other guy comes over. He goes, all right, mate, listen, we're going to have to take you to Maryland Station. We're going to process you there. There's another machine there you'll be tested on. Should you fail that, you can opt to go to the hospital for a blood test, in which case I said, mate, I'll be going to the hospital for a blood test. I'm telling you now. And
did they use a separate machine there?
At the station?
No, when you were still on the side, because the bloke came up to you and said, you look sober.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
No, so after I blew into the machine and I registered 0.079, by the way.
So you were well and truly over.
I was well and truly over.
Did they put you in handcuffs?
No.
I just wonder if there's a photo out there somewhere of Francis in handcuffs that I can somewhat pay for.
They didn't cuff me, but what they said is, look, do we have permission to move your car around the corner? I'm like, yeah, whatever. They took all my belongings and they said, look, we're going to put you in the back of the paddy wagon. We're going to take you to Maryland Station.
Shoes off, shoelaces off.
They actually had me put my hands on the vehicle and they pat me down. So I'm leaning over. I'm getting pat down.
Bro, I'll be driving past like this.
And I'm literally laughing at this point. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And it's 1:30 in the morning, right? I would have been home by now. It's 1:30 in the morning. I get in the back of this paddy wagon. I don't know if you've been in the back of one, Paulie. You maybe don't want to admit it on air, but I'm in the back. I feel like I'm inside a giant esky, and it's quite cramped. My knees are like at my ears, and I'm sitting there. Now we're driving to Maryland Station. Every time they turn, I'm like sliding to the left and to the right. And I just thought, what is happening here? A second ago, I'm on my way home to get to sleep for the Adoration of the Cross. Now I'm in the back of a paddy wagon. And then I had this thought and I started laughing. I thought, you know what? We always talk about the imitation of Christ. Christ was in captivity tonight. And so am I, you know. Maybe it's the road to my imitation of our Lord, you know. We get to Maryland Station and they open the doors. They go, mate, we're going to need you to step out. Please stay in front of us at all times. And I step out. We're walking towards the elevator, you know. If I like sort of turn around, like, mate, please face the forward. I'm like, oh, no worries, it's all right. You know, don't stress. And I say, look, I've got a feeling this has to do with me fasting. A very strong feeling it's got to do with my fasting. I didn't know how. I said, just let me Uber Eats a kebab. Just give me a few bites of this kebab. I'm almost 100% sure.
Did you actually think they were going to say yes? Did you actually think they were going to allow you to eat a kebab?
I thought I would try, man. I thought I was cooperating, you know. Little did I know. And they said, mate, since the point of your arrest, we can't let you consume anything. The bigger thing is I was willing to eat chicken on Good Friday.
I was a bit there.
No. I'm not going to prison.
But you go to prison.
No. No.
Sorry, did you know, Jesus say, no, you can't take me. Let me just, you know, throw away everything that I'm doing.
Don't be one of those people.
No.
Is that what I'm
saying, what do you mean it's what happened to Jesus? No. Francis.
I needed to make it to Adoration of the Cross. All right?
Okay.
I'm not going back to prison.
I ain't going back alive.
I ain't going back. So now they're like, no, we can't give you a kebab. I'm like, oh, fair enough. So then they take me to this room. There's another officer who's there. He's like, oh, we need to process this guy. No worries. This other officer, there's a big machine. Now he's taking down all my details, everything. And
did they scan your fingerprints?
You know what? I actually don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think so because I didn't fail the one at the the station.
Don't beat it. Go. Yeah. Don't tell the ending before we get there.
It's right. When we make the reel, we're going to crop that part out anyway. And so he starts taking my details. He's like, all right, mate, when was your last drink? I was like, Monday night. It's Thursday, right? I'm like, Monday night. He goes, Monday night? I'm like, yes, Monday night. He goes, what did you drink? I'm like, Monday night. He's like, yeah, Monday night. I'm like, well, I had a VB at 7 p.m. and a VB at 9 p.m. He's like, okay, that's it? I'm like, yeah, that's it. He goes, what did you eat? I'm like, on Monday night. He goes, yeah, Monday night. I'm like, okay. I had like a grilled fish. I had some prawns, maybe some salad. That's about it. And he goes, did you have anything to eat or drink? I'm like, on Monday night. He's like, yeah, Monday night. We just kept talking about Monday night. Because we're talking about 3 days ago, Paul. We're not talking about tonight. We're talking about 3 days ago. He goes, and since that time, you've consumed nothing. I'm like, nope. I've been fasting. And I'm sitting on like a wheelie chair, like a cheaper version of this. So I'm sort of swinging around. And by this stage, I'm like half crazy. I'm like, nope, nothing. And he just looks at me. He's like, you don't look intoxicated. You don't smell intoxicated. And you seem quite sharp. Same thing the other guy said. And I was like, I told you, I haven't had anything to drink. I said, not just that, but when someone fasts, they actually, and I started giving him the benefits of fasting. You know, you actually become much sharper. You think clearer, this and that. And he's like, that's really interesting. Then he turns to the officers who are both waiting at the door. They could have left. They're like, honestly, we want to see what happens here. Because they were confused what I'm doing there. And he says to them, what reading did he blow? And the officer says, 0.087. And I was like, nope. He's like, what do you mean, nope? I'm like, no, it was 0.079. And he said, no, it wasn't. I said, yes, it was. He's like, no, it wasn't. Yes, it was. Now we're arguing like a bunch of kids. The other officer is like, he's like, mate, just check the history on the machine. So he checks the history. And he's like, oh, yeah, it was 0.079. And I just look at the officer processing me and I go, told you. It's as sharp as you get, you know. He finished processing me and then I blew into the machine and then it just came back 0. And I was like, look, I told you. I didn't have anything to drink. He goes, it must have been a faulty machine. He goes to other officers, did you guys try another machine? They're like, no, we didn't. He goes, you didn't notice he doesn't look intoxicated or smell intoxicated? No, we didn't. They think it's a faulty machine. I'm convinced it's got to do with the fast. Anyway, he says, look, we might be able to take you back to your car. We'll just see I'm like, oh, let me see how much an Uber is. It was like $20. I was like, you know what? I don't care if it's $1. I'm not taking an Uber. I got arrested. I was falsely charged, you know.
You weren't charged, Francis.
You know what?
You were not charged.
Paulie, don't take away from the zing. I was falsely arrested. How's that?
That's fair.
Is that better
That's
for
fine.
you? Yeah.
As long as, you know.
You seem to know
we're going to call a zebra a zebra.
You know the terminology well, don't you, Paul?
Well, you weren't charged.
You know the terminology
You were not charged. That's all I'm going to say.
I was arrested.
Falsely charged. No,
I was arrested.
Relax. I was a martyr.
I was falsely taken captive. Was I or was I not? True. Don't speak Arabic, bro. Trust me. Don't speak Arabic. No, so then I was like, you know what? I think I'll take you up on that ride. He goes, oh, mate, you must have misunderstood me. We're not obligated to take you back to your car. I was like, oh, well, another grub, you know. It's not the first one I meet that's a grub. And so the other guy's like, oh, sorry, mate. You know, the two that waited, we got to take a prisoner up to wherever. You're going to have to find your own ride. I just thought, this is freaking ridiculous. At this stage, it's like 3 a.m. And then I message a group chat with some boys in it, you know, hoping that someone's awake because it's Holy Thursday night. People are up late. Sure, boys, who's awake? One of them responds. I just call him. He's like, is everything okay? I say, Alphonse, can you please pick me up from Maryland Station? He's like, what station? I'm like, Maryland's police station. He goes, what are you doing at Maryland's police station? I said, Alphonse, please. It's been a long night. Okay. Just pick me up and I'll talk to you when you get here. He's like, oh, I'm coming. Because it was far from Penrith. I'm not going to call anyone from my family. So he picks me up. I'm barely inside the car. He's like, what the hell happened to you? I was like, man, pretty sure it's got to do with the fast, but X, Y, Z.
Francis comes out with a teardrop tatted behind.
Yeah. I had to get my second teardrop tattoo, you know. I drive home. By the time I get home, it's like 4 o'clock or 4:30. I'm doing some research. It turns out when you fast and you reach a state of deep ketosis, you know, your stomach produces acetone, which comes out in your breath, which is what registers on the handheld one. That's what I found anyway. If someone can correct me, then that's great. But I thought all of that because I was fasting. And then in the morning,
You're a true martyr of the 21st century.
Honestly, man,
Francis.
Sometimes I wonder how our church is surviving today, and then I look at, you know, what I've done to carry it on my back.
Bro, someone get me a baseball bat, please.
Yeah.
Just put him down.
Put him down. And then in the morning, I just hear, you know, my mum screaming, Francis, we're going to church. You never come with us to church. Every year, you're always sleeping in because you're out late. And I'm like, Mum, you have no idea what I went through. You have no idea what I've been through, man. Leave me alone. Just go back to sleep. And when they get home, it's like, you know, midday. They're about to have their kibbutz, but I'm still fasting. I was like, Mum, you'll never believe what happened last night. She goes, what happened? I said, Mum, I got arrested. She's like, sure, Kiv, you got arrested. My dad just kept eating like nothing happened. Didn't even look up. I'm like, man, he's really given up. He has really given up on me. And it was that same day, you know, that morning when I got up, I had a call and it was some weird name. I'm like, who the heck is this person? And it was Tony Abbott calling me back because I had emailed him like 3 months earlier to come on this podcast.
Why would it be a weird name?
Because I saved his number under a weird name for some unknown reason. You know, because at the time when I was young, I was like, that's Tony Abbott, man. I can't just save his name as Tony Abbott. I was like, who the heck is this guy?
PM.
The GOAT PM. And he was calling to let me know he's happy to be on the show. That's when he agreed. He didn't end up coming on for a few months.
It was all happening. This. Can I just say, this was the year after you held everyone captive on the bus on good. I just want to, as we're talking about it just occurred to me, right? The 2 years beforehand, you made everyone be silent. You held everyone against their will.
And then I was held captive, yeah.
And now this Holy Thursday comes along and Francis is told to be quiet. He's been told to look in front, do not look back, keep moving forward. You answer the questions. You don't ask the questions here.
Yeah.
Don't you love how sometimes the universe just works itself out?
Look, what I think it is, Paul, I think when you're one of the heavies of the church.
You're an asshole.
When you're one of the heavies, bro, everyone, like, the devil's out to get you, you know, and he came for me. And I welcomed it with open arms. I was willing to go to hospital and have them extract my blood, man. But, yeah, it was such an odd experience. Because like 1 second I'm on the way home, I thought, you know what, I had a good early night. I'll be home by 1 or something, you know, or 1:30, which is fine. And Next thing you know, I'm in the back of a paddy wagon. I'm like, what am I doing here? And they've got all my stuff. They didn't give me back my phone until after they cleared me.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
That's actually probably one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, so you can imagine Good Friday when I was driving and I saw an RBT. I was like, not again, please. Like, I can't do this again. Because I was still fasting. It would have been worse. But luckily they didn't pull me in. That would have been a disaster. Imagine getting arrested like 3 times in 3 days. Each
Three
time.
times?
No, like if it kept happening,
okay.
Because that whole weekend, is double demerit and every exit has an RBT and I'm not one of those, you hear stories of people getting out of situations with cops.
As in like sweet talk themselves out
Yeah,
of
just
it?
generally, I never have that. Every time I've been pulled over where I've been accused of doing something wrong, I've been, one time I was driving like 115 on the M4 where it's usually 110, but it was work zone, so it's 80. But it was like 12:30 at night, so there's no work. So everyone's just sort of going, this cop pulls me over. He's like, mate, you were doing 115 and it's an 80 zone. And he looks at my license. He goes, you live around here. You know it's a work zone. You know this, you know that. I was like, I'm sorry, officer, I don't know what to tell you. He goes, all right, wait here. Comes back, $871 fine, 5 demerit points. Even though I still had points left, I got a letter a month later that I've been suspended because it's an excessive speeding fine.
Wow.
And with discretion, they can suspend you. Then I had to take him to court. Man, this whole thing was an ordeal. Then I took him, I went to court. They said, look, because you've never lost points for this
This
before.
bloke's been arrested in and out of court.
Yeah, but trust me, my record at court is good. And so I go to court and they say, look, go 6 months without losing a single point and we quash the suspension. If you lose any points, you'll get double.
Well, why do you think that is?
Why is what?
Like, why do you think that you've never been let off? If someone's pulled you over for something, you say, I've never been one to talk myself out of trouble with the cops.
I just think, you know what, they just have it out for me, man.
They must. It's the
only
red beard.
explanation.
I got pulled over the other night, literally, maybe a month ago, running a red light. And I got out of the ticket. I just thought, I'll let you know.
You see, that's bullshit.
That's not bullshit. Why is it bullshit?
How'd you get out of it?
Nothing. I ran the red light. It was it was just red. It was like around the corner from my house. It was like 1:30 in the morning. And I'm driving and I look in the side mirror and I see sirens. I've gone, all right, no worries at all. I'm looking, I pull over and I go, just please don't be a highway patrol. That's it. Just please don't be a highway patrol. Because I've realised it's the highway patrols that are out to get you, not the normal cops. They come, they pull you over. I guarantee you whoever it was that pulled you over is highway patrol. Or they've got whatever quotas to meet or whatever it is. I'm like, but these people pulled me over and look on the side mirror and I just see it's just a normal police officer. So I've gone, thank God. Come straight to my car. Do you know why we pulled you over? My exact response was, I thought I'll catch the yellow. They had a bit of a, not chuckle, but then they looked at me, go, give me a license. Gave it to him. Funny enough, Akon is playing locked up in the car.
Yeah.
I'm having a bit of a laugh to myself. She's like, just because it's yellow doesn't mean you can speed your way through. I said, well, in my defense, I didn't speed up. Just cruised straight through. We had a bit of a laugh then. She gave me the license. He goes to me, please just don't do it again. I said, yeah, no worries. And then went on my way.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
That's not bullshit.
It is bullshit.
It's not. I was just not saying, Francis, maybe you should learn to be maybe a little bit more respectful. Think about that. Maybe don't come across that you're his authoritator.
So when I say to them, do you know who I am? That's not the way to...
No, definitely not.
Okay,
this bloke walks in, 7 foot tall, red beard. Do you know who I am? You can't find me. I'll find you. I'll place you on a citizen's arrest.
I only answer to the church.
In the 1600s, Aristotle said...
1600s. Aristotle in the 1600s, Paul. Come on, bro. Yeah, so look, I lost my license. I went to court. They said, you go 6 months. You know what? I think you're onto something.
What did you say in court?
Well...
It's all coming out now.
They set a court date for me to come back. And after 6 months, I didn't lose any points. And so I thought to myself...
You never went back to court.
They don't need me there.
Of course they do. A no-show is automatic guilty.
So I thought they don't need me there. They can just work it out. Hey, this Francis guy, yeah, all good. Anyway, I get a letter. You missed your court date. It's been booked in again for 3 weeks from now. Yeah, whatever. 3 weeks passed. You think I even remembered or bothered to? I missed it a second time. And then they send me a letter. You've been suspended for 3 months.
You deserve it. I just want you to know it. You completely deserve it.
That's not the end of the story, but I ended up winning. Then they send me a letter. They go, you've been suspended for 3 months, which wasn't double, by the way. I got suspended because I missed court. And I thought, what am I going to do? I speak to a lawyer mate of mine, and I fill out an application for an annulment of a court decision. And it was this elaborate thing with statutory declarations and sworn statements. All true. I don't lie. And so I submitted it, and then I went to court again.
Just withhold the truth.
But until I had court, for 6 weeks, I didn't have my license, or 5 weeks. And I went to court, and the RMS lawyer, I was the last person, and he said he wants to contest. The judge looked at my documentation. He goes, looks good to me. He looks at the RMS lawyer. Do you want to contest this? He goes, yeah, I do. He wanted to cross-examine me. And so they put me up on the witness box. And they're like, do you want to make a sworn statement to the state or to the Bible? And so I looked at the RMS lawyer in the eyes and I said, to the Bible. Because I'm not mucking around with no affirmation to the state. Made my sworn declaration or whatever it's called. I swore on the Bible that I tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
So help you God.
So help me God. And then he grilled me. I answered honestly, and the judge was satisfied that I'd met the conditions, and I got it annulled. And so 100% success rate in court, by the way. 100%. How many lawyers do you know have 100% success rate in court?
Was it the lawyer that's got 100% success rate, or?
How many people do you know have 100% success rate in court? Lawyers.
I plead the fifth.
Pleading the fifth is when it can be self-incriminating. I don't think you know what that means, but the point is I beat the system yet again.
Francis, the point is you're a representation of the Catholic Church. You're here telling stories about how you're in and out of court, how you're rorting the system, how you had your hands up and you're in the back of the paddy wagon getting arrested on Holy Thursday night.
Yeah.
Good Friday morning, actually, I should say.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And then you sitting here
That's actually very much in line with being a representative of the church, because what I'm showing is the church is the only supreme authority that gets it right. Every other system created by man gets it wrong. Was Christ not a victim of a broken system?
How did you turn this?
That's what I do, Paul.
You know, you'd be a good real estate agent.
No, don't ever say that.
You actually would be a good real estate agent.
But I don't lie to people.
It's nothing about lying.
Yeah.
That's nothing about, don't.
Real estate agents do lie.
Some.
Is it possible to be a successful real estate agent without lying?
How you going, Paul? Don't leave my hand. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
That's it. Is it possible? You're meeting one.
Come on, bro.
Francis.
No one believes that.
Francis.
No one believes that.
Francis.
Look, Paulie, I've got some questions. So I asked people to submit some questions.
Oh, shit.
To submit some questions for us. It can be for either of us. It can be for both of us. Some of them are pretty interesting, I should say. How's your muggus doing, by the way?
It's going all right. I need to go to the bathroom soon.
Do you?
But not muggus. Just drank a bit of water.
Mm.
We're all right. I'll keep it up my sleeve until a question comes that I don't know the answer to.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Or maybe when the food arrives, when we order it.
Oh, what are we ordering?
Whatever you want, mate. With Uber Eats these days, it can be anything you want. Where do I see stories? Oh, in the archive. There we go. I'm still learning how to use Instagram. Here we go. So the first question.
Let's ease into it, but yeah.
Yeah. The first question, I'm pretty sure it's for me. They didn't really specify, but when I read this out, I'm pretty sure it's aimed at me. But this person said, "Are you really a grub, or is it just a facade?"
That's definitely for you, bro.
Yeah.
You have grub written all over.
Look.
But honestly, I don't think it's particularly your fault. I think it's just your appearance.
My demeanor.
No, your appearance.
Oh, my
your demeanor as well, yeah. But that's something you can
I've been
change.
told I'm not very emotive. I don't really express emotion like a lot. Like my resting face is a bit judgmental.
Yeah.
It's like a bit of a resting bitch face. But
Yeah.
on a man.
You're just like, you're laughing, but your face doesn't move.
Like it's...
So to answer the question, Francis, are you always a grub or is that just a facade?
Look, I'm actually going to answer this seriously in the sense that...
Oh, bro, that's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Far out.
No, some of them we're not going to ask. Some people asked Googleable questions. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. But to answer the question seriously, to Miss... I won't say their names just to keep them anonymous.
Don't say names, friend. Don't be a grub.
Oh, one of them's for you. You'll find this person. You'll want to know who asked this. You'll probably work it out. I think I come across as a bit of a grub sometimes or a bit of a hard ass because I can at times speak quite directly. And then on the opposite end of that, I can speak I can spin things up a little bit.
Like a good real estate agent does.
Yeah, you could say that. And I'm not very emotive, so it takes me actual energy to keep smiling and like if I'm sort of at rest, it's.
And I've figured out that the hard way. Sometimes when you and I talk, I'll tell you something that I think is like it's funny.
Yeah, and don't really.
No, you do, but like 3 seconds later, I'll say it and it'll just go quiet and just look at me, be like. Yeah, I know what you're saying now.
Yeah.
And it's like that 3 seconds.
It
is
turns
like,
on and off quite quickly.
Bro,
yeah.
It's like, come on,
Yeah.
But
thank you for your lovely question there. We've got another one. How long do you think it will take before Paul realizes he's actually small and hits the juice? I wonder who asked that.
I'm going to work that one out, am I?
Yeah.
All right. So let's clarify something. If I was on the juice, then I wouldn't be small. So the question contradicts itself.
No.
Yeah.
How long before you realize you're actually small and then hits the juice?
Okay. Yeah. I thought small and hits the juice as in simultaneously.
No, not simultaneously.
Well, who said I'm not on the juice?
You're definitely not on the juice. Not
Listen,
on the juice, Paul. That's
We can talk about size all you want, but whoever that person is, they can meet me at Jono's boxing ring Monday or Wednesday nights, and I'll be happy to show my size.
You know what I'm going to do, actually?
You're going to call him?
No. You know what? That's not a bad idea, actually. Why don't we do that?
Do what?
We're going to call him.
Let's call him. I already know who that is.
It's probably mass
I already
time
know
now.
who that is. I already know who that is. Why would I even second guess that?
It's probably like he's probably at mass now.
All I do is
that should tell you enough about who it is.
All I do is send Father Charbel memes about Trent. That's all I do.
Which takes us to the next question. This is an interesting one. Who's the better fighter? Ooh.
Allow me to answer this.
Go for it.
Okay. You're only as good as your last performance. I'm a true believer in that. And I think our last performance in the ring, having a little sparring session, is you absolutely dominated me. And I'm happy to say, I'm humble enough, as the people from the Kadam will say, no one is more humble than I, even though I'm not from the Kadam, I'm from Zgarte, and I just want to make it clear. But you absolutely dominated. And we did 2 rounds, 2 minutes each round, and I remember halfway when we had the first round was over and we had that little break, I had gone to the people in my corner and I said, man, I just can't hit him. But in saying that, I did have a broken rib and I was too scared to let my left go. So you just use your size, use your reach, and you got me. And I'll wear that on the chin.
Yeah, and to be fair, I stayed away from your rib as well.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. But, you know,
But to
it's
answer
still,
the question
hang on. I haven't finished, Francis.
Sorry,
I haven't finished. So to answer the question, you are as good as your last performance, I'll give you the credit. There's no issues at all. But I want to make it clear that the next time we're in the ring, it won't be the same thing. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's all. Now you can ask. You can ask George. You can ask.
No, look. All I was going to say is, in terms of skill, I think we're pretty close to each other. But I think at the end of the day, there's a reason why weight divisions exist.
Yeah.
And I've got probably 30 kilos on. How much do you weigh? Like 85 kilos, 86.
81 now. 81, 82.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
I've really shredded down.
I've quite literally got 35.
The
kilos on
steroids
you.
have made me lose weight.
Yeah. But what about the gaining muscle part? Does that happen?
It hasn't kicked
Is that
in
going to
yet.
happen soon?
3 months, 90 days before it starts kicking in.
So for the person who asked the question, I'm 35 kilos heavier than Paul. At the time, I was probably 30 kilos heavier. And so what that means is just regardless of skill, my reach alone gave me a significant advantage. So we can't compare apples to oranges. We can't compare men to women. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, in terms of skill, I think we're not too far off. Paulie's got some good movement, some good head movement, but it's hard to compare because us fighting it's never going to be a fair fight in that sense.
Which is fair to say, but I mean, speaking on the fighting, speaking on the gym, you're doing now the Iron Project.
Yeah.
How do you feel you're heading leading into your first amateur fight? Because I'm going to say this: a few of the boys we spoke maybe a couple of weeks ago, we said Francis really needs to knuckle down.
Yeah.
And maybe push himself to the next limit. Not that you're not doing well.
No.
Because we actually think you are. You've come a long way.
Look, I'm very self-aware. Let me just put it that way. I don't think I've hit that 6th gear yet, that 5th gear yet. I know I haven't hit it yet. My volume of training definitely needs to increase. I am going to start training at a secondary location, a bit closer to my house as well. Because right now I travel about 30 minutes each way to training. And I do need to carve out a lot more of my own time into training. Anyone who thinks they're going to become a boxer just rocking up to class, that's not going to happen. You really do need to do things on your own. So I would say that things have progressed, but they definitely haven't progressed as much as they should have. And if I maintain the rate of progression that I'm on now, I'm going to get belted at the end of the year, 100%. So yeah, I definitely need to up it. I'm very well aware I need to up it, and I need to step it up both in volume and intensity for sure.
Knowing full well that you're going to have your first amateur fight, and genuine question, is there any fear?
Oh, 100%, yeah. The whole reason I'm doing the Iron Project is because there is fear. I just don't want to have that fear anymore. And the only way to not have that fear is to do the work and prepare and step into the ring and either belt someone or get belted, and both are considered a win for me.
Have you booked in a time and place?
No, it hasn't been booked. I don't have an opponent yet. I don't have a time yet. It'll be October or November, one of those.
So who picks the opponent? Are you picking the opponent?
We can pick the opponent. We can find someone who
when
agrees.
When you say we, is it me and you? Or
No, you have no say in anything.
Thanks, bro.
Me and the Jono's boxing gym, so Jono and Anthony, we'll find an opponent. We'll agree on a weight class that we're going to fight at. But yeah, of course there's fear. There's definitely that. I would be concerned if someone doesn't fear going in, especially if they have no fight experience. I
agree.
Yeah.
Even Mike Tyson, one of the best fighters of all time, talks about the fear of jumping into the ring.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone does it because they're not afraid.
Yeah.
Because they do it regardless of the fact that they're afraid.
Yeah. And the one thing that I struggle with as a personality trait is I'm always like 0 or 100.
You can say that again, bro.
Yeah. Everyone who knows me knows that's the case. So I can't just like eat moderately. I'll be like, I'll fast 5 days and then I'll just
eat 5 days worth of food.
Yeah, in one day. Yeah. So
what did you have the other night? The other night when I spoke to you, you go, I didn't eat all day. I'm sorry, I don't know if you're going to say, but did like 24-hour fast, and you're like, I got
home. It was a 48-hour fast. Yeah.
What'd you eat?
I had salmon, a marinara mix, cooked prawns. I had some banana on toast with honey. I had 2 nectarines and like 600 mils of coconut water. Yeah, it was a big meal. But yeah, because of that, it means when I train for boxing, it's like I'll have a really good couple of weeks, and then I'll have a couple of weeks where I'm not as consistent. And there are weeks where I'm committed to training, but I've booked in talks or I've booked in podcasts or whatever it is, and then I miss a few sessions, and then you lose a bit of momentum.
I'll make sure everyone knows when you miss a few sessions as well.
You do. And I actually...
It's called accountability.
All of those stories of you saying Francis isn't here, I screen record all of them.
Good. For
future reference. But look, I know that there's a lot of work to do in terms of increasing my volume. But I think we'll be okay.
Fingers crossed.
We'll be okay.
I think,
or maybe this is a ploy just so that my potential opponent thinks I'm not taking things seriously.
I think either of the outcomes, we'll all be happy. if you win, we'll be happy because you won. And if you get your ass kicked, we'll be happy because you got your ass kicked.
I wouldn't say all. I would say there are people who very much want to see me win, and then there are people who would love to see me get my head kicked in.
I got my hand up for both.
Yeah, that's
I'm
good.
just going to be honest.
Maybe you're one of the ones that are keen for both, but no, I definitely need to increase my training volume. Like we're not moving. I'm not moving at a pace that's quick enough.
Do you know roughly the time frame? Like not time frame. Do you know roughly the month this year where you're planning?
November.
October, November. All right.
Yeah.
So what's that? 6 months? 6 months, 6, 7 months.
Geez, that's actually sooner than.
Yeah, it's not far.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
It's a bit of anxiety. But no, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Look, at the end of the day, it was never going to be easy. Someone going from a complete beginner to training, like, yeah, should I be training 6 times a week? That'd be lovely. But I'm not.
How many times have you heard, oh, but you're doing boxing. Aren't you involved in the church?
Yeah, I get that all the time. This is what happens, Paul, when our church is built off, dinner dances. And
Just be careful with your next words, please.
Listen,
No.
we're on my show now. Don't worry about it. Look, the church, our church, God bless the Maronite Church, full of zeal, full of life, very cultural faith, which has its benefits. But I think there's a lot we can do to become a more holistic church. And there are a lot of people that are on the fringe or outskirts that aren't really being sort of included in the life of the church. And one of the reasons I wanted to take up boxing was because I believe a big part of becoming a holistic Christian is also the physical and mental fortitude, especially as a man. And learning how to fight and learning self-discipline is not contrary to the church. It's very much in line with the church. And something that I've said is we have enough dinner dances. Okay, we have plenty of them. We have enough barbecues. We have enough social gatherings, and all these events are great. They're not bad, right? We have enough events under the stars, and different missions or ministries. They're all very good, but there's a big part missing that excludes a lot of guys who might see this and be like, you know what? Yeah, I train. Like, yeah, I go to mass on Sundays. I don't really get involved in much else at church, but they might be boxers. There are many practicing Maronite boxers who are quite solid in their faith, but don't really engage with other aspects of church life. So, it's about becoming a more holistic Christian in that sense. It's easy to talk, right? This show is just talking. I do talks. I quite literally just talk. But it's like, no, we also have to do. We also have to go out and do what is difficult, and I've spoken about this, how the definition of effeminacy is to choose what is pleasurable over that which is difficult, and we have to choose the difficult things. And this is the struggle I'm going through now, because I've got my full-time job, I'm doing talks, I'm doing podcasts, and I've got the boxing, but the boxing requires me to be consistent and disciplined. And any time I drop from that, I hear it from 10 people, which isn't a bad thing, because that's the whole point of the fraternity. Anthony's the first one. Like this morning was the Bay run. My legs are fried from a run I did early in the week because I hadn't run in so long. And I was just like, look, I'm not going to drive 45 minutes to go for a walk, right? But you think that matters to Anthony? No, Anthony's going to send messages. He will find reels where I talk about masculinity and then respond to them, be like, yeah, but you can't even go for a run. But that's fine. That's good. It's about pushing each other. But now I've put myself in a position where any time I veer off the plan, it's magnified, and a lot of people can see, which is fine.
Well,
I chose this life. I chose this journey of accountability. If someone can watch the vlog, be like, man, you haven't really lost that much weight since the last one. It's like, yeah, I haven't.
You've got the vlog. You're recording a lot of it, but not just that. There's a whole bunch of us there supporting you through the Iron Project as well.
Yeah.
Which means that when you're not there, and we're there on the forefront training alongside you, because we believe in the Iron Project. We believe in the regaining authentic masculinity.
Yeah.
So when Francis doesn't rock up, oh mate, honestly, it's almost as enjoyable as I know. As the training itself.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie.
I've seen the videos. I've received the messages.
And
But yeah, look, all I'm going to say is this, okay? Let this be a warning.
A warning.
Anthony's going to see this warning and tell me to shut up. He's not going to buy it. But let this be a warning. When I hit 5th gear, it's going to be very different.
When?
I've got to time it, bro. You've got to peak at the right time.
No, but it's not about peaking. You're training, Habib. You should be in 6th gear from the get-go. What's wrong with you? What are you waiting for?
When was the last time you went to boxing, Paul?
Monday night.
Yeah? Since then, you haven't been?
I had the podcast on Wednesday.
Yeah.
This morning, I couldn't make it.
Give me your hand.
No.
Give me your hand.
Why? Yeah.
No, give me your other hand.
Why?
For those that don't know, every time I'm talking, the camera cuts to me. But Paul adjusts his microphone. He does this, adjusts it, and he starts wincing. Starts wincing at his hand. So just relax. Everyone needs to settle down.
Right.
Anthony rocks up to the gym stiff and like he turns like this. Oh, my back, I can't. Everyone's got their own things.
No.
As well,
I never went. I never not went because of the injury. And for those who don't know, on Monday night when Francis wasn't there once again, we were training quite intensely.
Yeah.
And I actually fractured my thumb.
Yeah.
Over Anthony Jaja's head.
Yeah.
And he didn't drop. So I don't know if that shows strength on his end or weakness on my end. Nor should he have dropped. We were sparring anyway. It was a panic punch. But I will be there on Monday night. That's not the reason why I never went today. So when you say, oh, my legs hurt, I can't go to the bay run and find every excuse not to.
No, I never said I can't walk.
No. You just found an excuse not to go.
No. I just said I still train today. Well, hold on. Paulie, the accusations. You're on my show now, brother. Listen, I still trained today.
You brought up the hand.
No,
you did this, not me.
But I still trained today. That's the point. I just trained on my own. All I said is I'm not driving 45 minutes to go for a walk. That's all I said. I never said I'm not training today.
Have you not done the bay run before?
No, I have, yeah.
So you've driven 45 minutes before to do the bay run?
To run.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't going to run today. So I was like, I'm not going to walk. I'm not going to drive there just to walk.
Well, everyone was walking?
Yeah, quite literally.
Okay, tell us.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
So instead,
I blame the trainer.
Instead, I opted to get a full night's sleep, and then I woke up and I went to the gym and I trained.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you never went.
Not to the bay run.
Okay.
Not to the bay run.
Okay, that's fair.
Look, we gotta avoid painting this picture like I'm going to boxing once a week, half-hearted, and then that's all I'm doing, and I'm not taking it serious. It's like it's not that deep, you know. It's not that bad, you know.
Listen, sometimes it is that bad.
What do you mean?
I've seen you at the gym and you go half-assed. Like, wait till Anthony turns around and then you put the weights down. You're like, just hang on, get my breath back and then go back.
That's all for the camera, bro.
I haven't seen it once on the camera, but.
That's all for the...
No.
That's all for the camera.
All jokes aside, you are actually... Wait, this cord's doing my head in.
Yeah.
You've picked up quite a bit. You're doing well. So
yeah, look, I think
you need to push to the next gear, and I think
so. I agree. Like I said, I'm quite self-aware. I think I do need to, but
no time better to than right now. So I think after here we should go hit up the boxing gym.
Let's do it.
I mean,
I've got gloves here. We can just go outside.
I got gloves in my car.
Yeah, we can do it on camera.
There's enough cameras every time we've jumped in the ring.
No, we'll be all right. Do you have any more questions about boxing?
If I make an accusation, just know that it is true.
Yeah.
I do not make false accusations.
Never?
And when in doubt, I have plenty of witnesses to back up what I'm saying. So
yeah. Well, no one's there to witness when I'm not there.
The people that are there can witness that you're not there.
I wasn't there, but they can't witness what I was actually doing.
But it doesn't matter. You weren't there.
What if I was training at another gym?
What if you were? What if you weren't? You know, what if
you didn't even ask me? You didn't even ask me what I was doing. Paul.
What if my tata had a zabra? Should be majudu. You know what I'm saying? What if? Because it's the Francis Tamer show, we can say things like that here.
You're supposed to say if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike. Remember? Have you seen that video?
That's the cooking one. This is the Lebanese one. This is the Qatewi one.
This is Qatewi. All right, next question. Why did Paul copy your podcast idea and studio background?
Show me.
It's honestly there.
All right, let's make a couple of clarifications. Okay, I know you've set someone up for this.
I did not set anyone up for this.
Stop. Let's talk about this, right? We spoke about the start of Maronite Down Under.
Yeah. What was the background in season 1?
No, let me...
Just what was the background?
Let me finish,
yeah.
Okay? we started Maronite Down Under. Then the podcast became a product of what we've started, not the opposite. Okay, so I didn't start the podcast to copy anyone. I started the podcast to create content. So I never started it because Francis Tamer had a podcast and I wanted to copy him. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Now, the first 2 episodes were not a brick wall. They had harissa, blue background. It was beautiful. But then I started thinking to myself, we need to have more of a plain background. What a better way than just a brick wall? Now, if you're going to say I copied you, Francis, okay, there's a brick wall here. So, but you can say whatever you want. Mister, I did 1 episode.
I never said.
No.
I never said you copied me.
No,
Bro, the question is from a fan. The question is from
Mister,
a fan.
I did 1 podcast in 14 months, and then after Francis jumps on my podcast, he speaks to me afterwards. He's like, Paul, you've really inspired me to kickstart the podcast off again. So I just want to make it clear. If we're going to be talking about inspirations here, Francis, like I said, if we're going to make accusations, I want
this
them to be
person
true.
made the accusation. I haven't made any accusation.
Do you know how many people have come up to me, and I hope they don't now listening to this, but burns me, and they say, "Oh, I heard you stole Francis' idea."
Why would they say that?
I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder.
So that answers this person's question, which had nothing to do with me.
Well, the answer is the inspiration was on the opposite end. But that's okay. We're here to inspire each other, Francis. As iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another.
Amen to that. Are you eating meat at the moment today?
What's today? Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get some Thai food.
Oh, yeah. Hokkien noodles.
What is it?
Hokkien noodle.
Let me just see what he has the most solid rating. It's all about that Uber Eats rating. Hokkien noodle.
Bro, just order anything.
You're so high maintenance, bro. Oh, no, here they are. Here it is. This, yeah?
Yeah, beautiful.
And you want chicken, beef, prawns? Like, what do you want?
Just chicken.
Is that the standard? Choice of sauce, oyster, peanut, cashew nut.
Oyster.
He's not blinking.
Hang, are we, is this on the show?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah. We'll only pause it when we actually eat for 10 minutes. But we got to give people the authentic experience.
It's all about authenticity.
While I do that, I'll ask the next question. This is a really good question, actually, that I received from a Roman Catholic. They said, let me just bring it up again. All right, so this person asked, do you think some Maronites care more about the culture than the liturgy, or is it balanced? Now, I asked them for some clarification, and what they said is, they've attended some Maronite churches and they see just a lot of people sort of standing outside, talking, not really participating in the Mass. And it just seems like the Maronite faith is quite cultural. So they're just there because it's the cultural thing to do. But a lot of them, or some of them, aren't actually participating in the liturgy, and they're more concerned with being there sort of for the cultural aspect. Do you think that is a common problem, or is it not as bad as it may look?
Listen, it's definitely a problem, even if it's just one person. Right? It doesn't have to be a whole congregation. Even if it's just one person, there's a problem, because essentially we're all there for the end goal of salvation. Right? Liturgy is so important for that. To say that, is it a cultural issue? I don't know. I don't know. I said this earlier, and I'm not going to justify anything, but everyone has their own spiritual path.
Do you want a drink, by the way?
No. The
Cool.
68 litres of water that you just ordered is
Awesome.
plenty. Everyone's on their own spiritual path, right? If you're going to ask me if someone comes and hangs out at the front of Mad Shadowville or not attend Mass at all, I would say come and hang out. Now, you might disagree. You might. You may not. As long as they're not bringing anyone out. But if they're on a path to the church, allow them to take that path. Is it a cultural issue? I think any situation, whether it's Mass, whether it's an event where you're going to have a large gathering of youth, you're going to have this issue. You're going to have it. I think the fact that we have the issue shows a significant amount of people attending Mass. This is a product of that, not the opposite. Is it an issue? Of course. But is it such a detrimental issue? I haven't seen it, but I have been one of those people that hang out and not attend, but it was still my journey back to the church. So if someone had come to me outside and been like, "Oh, what are you doing here? If you're not going to be in Mass, just leave. You're not, not so much you're not welcome, but you're doing it wrong." I would have told him to go get stuff, tell him where to go, and I probably wouldn't have gone back, as long as it's on my journey. But I don't know. I haven't actually thought about it as a problem. Sometimes it frustrates me. Don't get me wrong, but
see, but the example you just gave, it involves someone telling you off quite uncharitably.
Yeah.
Why do they need to? Why do they need to be told uncharitably? Why can't someone tell them charitably?
They could have been, but even in the situations of, and like I said, when I first met you, there was nothing you so much said, even thinking back in hindsight, that was uncharitable. But I wasn't ready to hear it. That's the point. You were giving me church teachings. You said, "No, the catechism says this." And I said, "The heck's the catechism? Who is the catechism to tell me this?"
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying to justify it. I'm saying people are on their own path to the faith. And sometimes it involves a different path that you might have taken, and it involves a path in which they're at least attending Mass. And if they don't have the fullness, if they don't experience Mass to the fullness in which it should be today, doesn't mean they won't in 12 months. But to call it a cultural issue, no, I don't think so. I think Lebs as a whole have enough issues. I don't think this is one of them.
Well, I would say that for Maronites, for Lebanese Maronites, our faith and our culture is quite intertwined.
Yeah.
They're not really as separated as, say, Western Catholics. And so the issue then becomes is sometimes Maronites can confuse what is a part of the faith with what is simply a part of their culture. And when the two get confused, they can treat cultural things almost like they're infallible, if that makes sense.
It does.
That's the issue that I have. So it's not about an individual being told off rudely, "Hey, what are you doing out here?" But I'll give you an example. When I was on the committee at St. John's, we might be doing a barbecue one night. So during youth Mass, I'm cooking the barbecue, but I went to Mass that morning. And some members of the youth would come, and they'd come and stand at the barbecue next to me and start chatting to me. And I would just flat out ask, "Hey, are you here for Mass or the barbecue?" "Oh, I'm here for both." I'm like, "So you haven't been to Mass yet?" "No, I haven't been to Mass yet." And so I'll just very politely say, "Look, if you haven't been to Mass yet, it's very important to attend Mass. You actually have to go inside and participate. There's time for us to chat after." And they're like, "Oh, okay," and they just go inside.
Yeah, no issues with that.
But my point is, we should still call out the cultural issue without being rude, without being uncharitable.
What's the cultural issue in that aspect? As
the
in
cultural issue
helping
is,
you with the barbecue?
No, it's more so when I say the cultural issue, it's like, "Oh, I'm going to church because that's what Lebanese people do. We go to church on Sunday."
Okay.
Sunday night, I go with my friends to
It's just
church.
another checkpoint to tick off. Like, I just went.
It's a part of their culture that we go to church. But really, we shouldn't be putting culture above faith.
Yeah.
It should always primarily be about the faith. I'll give you another example.
Can I just say on that as well, though, before you get to the next example, that as individuals, sometimes they just genuinely don't know. It's just genuine ignorance. They just think that going to church
That's why it's
and being
important
at the
to
front,
say something.
100% it is, charitably, as you said, because that would be the most important thing if you are in the situation where you need to let them know that, hey, what you're doing may not be right. It needs to be done the right way.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on to the next example.
Like only a couple of weeks ago, I was at a church helping with a barbecue.
You love your barbecues, eh?
Look, when you get the call, you answer, And it's been some time since I've helped.
So anyone out there that needs a barbecue done at their church, call Francis.
Yeah, 100%. After I'll tell you a story how because of a church barbecue, I almost ended up on a TV show called Christians Like Us. I'll tell you about it in a sec. But I'm cooking this barbecue, and I called a couple boys, my brother and one of the boys, to come help, all of which we had been to mass that morning. And while we're cooking this barbecue, we just see people like hovering around the church, some sitting on the chairs for the event, some literally just walking around saying hi to people. And I looked around, and I could count like 20 people around the church, just glancing, right? And I forget who I turned to. I was like, are these people here for mass? And they said, yeah, but they sort of just rock up and walk around and hang out. And my next question is, has anyone even spoken to them? So I'm not saying go up and say, listen, if you're not going to go inside, you can leave. I'm not saying do that. But it's like, has anyone said, hey, it's really important. If you're here to attend mass, attending mass means actually going inside.
Participation.
You know, and what is it?
I said it wrong. Hang on.
Participation.
Participating.
Yeah.
Yeah, hang on, but... All right, you know what? Keep going.
Participating,
in the beninging.
Yeah, in the beninging. So yeah, you got to actually go in and participate and have that conversation with them. But it's like it's almost not being discussed because it's just what we do, right? Another example, I once had a conversation with someone about Maronite Sports Day, right? God bless the MYDC and what they do. Maronite Sports Day, everyone has their views on it, but the intent of it is a good one, right? Which is to unite the churches. One time I questioned, hey, does it need to be on that day? Can't we do it on
Easter Monday?
Yeah, instead of Easter Monday, let's do it on a different day, you know? And someone said, no, Francis, what do you mean? It's tradition. And I said, sorry? They said, yeah, it's tradition. We've been doing it there I said, stop there. Unless you're going to say 2,000 years, I don't want to hear it.
Hey, listen, it is tradition. It is tradition. No. I'm going to defend it. It is tradition. I don't like that it's on Easter Monday, but it is tradition.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? We don't stick to tradition when it suits, okay?
Okay.
We stick to tradition when it's firstly a real tradition. That's not a tradition. 10 years is not a tradition. 15 years is not a tradition. It doesn't count, all right? My point is the elevation of culture above faith means that when you've got an ethno-religious group, which is what we are, the ethno becomes more important than the religious.
Mm.
There are even some Maronites who say not anyone can become a Maronite because we're an ethno-religious group. It's like, relax. Anyone can become a Maronite, you know? Well, it's like, look, let's be honest. It's why we have like racism in our community. We're a racist people.
All right. Elaborate.
Yeah. Lebanese people are racist. We all know that. Lebanese people know that. Everyone knows that. Very tribal, you know? We have very tribal structure in how our communities are. It's very hard for someone outside the community to enter the community and feel like they're a part of it quickly. Just ask anyone who's non-Lebanese trying to attend a Maronite church.
Everyone looks at him.
Yeah.
Like, what's he doing here?
Yeah. It does happen, which is like it's sort of beside the point. But I do agree with the person wasn't really making a claim. They were asking a question. But if the claim is that sometimes the cultural aspect can override the faith aspect, I would agree. But I would say that there needs to be a lot more education done
There needs to be.
Rather than just being like, oh, at least they're here. That mindset burns me, by the way.
And I get it.
Yeah.
But I'll always go back to everyone has their own journey back, right? So
but that journey needs to involve encounters.
And
That's
I
what
agree
I'm
with
saying.
you.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with the encounter, right? But they still need to be there in order to receive the encounter.
Correct.
If they receive the encounter and the encounter's done properly, and they still refuse it, then that's just ignorance. That itself is a vice.
Well, it's not ignorance if they've
would be
been
ignorance.
told. No.
Yeah, because
ignorance is if they didn't know.
Well, then what would it be?
They just decided they don't want to do it. And then look, if someone says, look,
maybe arrogance.
Yeah, exactly. Look, it is a pride. If someone decides, hey, I'm not like I just don't want to go inside church. Okay, thank you for your conversation. I just want to sit out here. Okay, that's fine. But when you've got like 20 people outside of the youth mass, literally like in little pockets hanging out, and no one's even bothered to have the conversation with them, like that's a problem for me. Like have the conversation. You'll be surprised how much people are willing to listen when you speak to them respectfully, and let them know, hey, this isn't the way to go about it.
And I agree. And if you've done what you need to do, as in being that person that went and spoke to them, then you've done your part. The person still has to accept what you say.
Yeah.
But there's also a saying, and it's like I said, when I say this, Francis, or at least they're there, it's not to justify the action. I promise you it's not. It's not to be like, okay, well, I'm going to justifying what they're doing, right? But you can also look at it with the saying that if someone hangs around the barbershop long enough, they're going to get a haircut. When I say at least they're there, at least they're in a situation where they can encounter Mr. Francis Tamer coming over and saying, hey, what you're doing, even though you're here, isn't necessarily enough. You really should be participating in the Mass, and this is why. Or even asking, have you participated in Mass? Have you been to Mass today? No. Maybe you really should go in and sit down and participate before you come and hang out outside, or whatever it is that you say to them.
Yeah.
But you can't have that encounter if they're not there. Now, if this is a group that constantly every single Sunday does it and there's nothing you can tell them, well then, yeah, it culturally has become a problem. But is it going to affect me and my salvation? No. Is it going to affect me going to Mass? Am I going to lose any sleep over it? No.
Well, it's not just because it doesn't affect you directly. At the end of the day, we're the body of Christ. We're a community. And
Amen.
We should be looking out for people in our community.
But if you've done what you can do,
well, what are you
what else can you do? That's my point.
Obviously, you can't drag them inside.
I mean, I wish we could.
But the question simply goes back to, is there an issue of culture overriding the faith at times? My answer to that would be, I think yes.
I think at times, but I don't think it's as bad as we make it out to be.
I don't know. How bad are we making it out to be?
I don't know. I guess just the question itself has maybe a stigma to it.
Yeah.
That the culturally is...
The Maronites
and mind you, like we'll go to parishes, right? Like if I go to St. Charbel on Youth Mass, I'm sure there'll be dozens of people hanging out outside. If I go to St. John's during Youth Mass, if I go to Our Lady.
Yeah.
But if you were to pick the parishes, the larger parishes, let's say St. John's, Our Lady, and St. Joey's, right? You're talking... How many attend their Youth Mass? 1,000 people? We're obviously going to have people hanging out outside, but what I'm saying is the fact that we have it is because there's 1,000 people inside.
Yeah.
It's not we have 100 people outside and 100 people inside. So it's going to be a product of that. So it is an issue, but when I say I don't think it's as great of an issue as we think, and I may be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, but and I'll say it again, in the words that you hate, I'd rather them there than not there at all.
Are they the words that I hate?
No. You hate the words, well, at least they're there.
Oh, yeah. Look, if I only hate those words if it means someone isn't willing to say something or...
Well, if we're justifying the action.
Yeah, no, as long as there's an attempt to educate, that's all I'm saying.
I agree.
As long as there's an attempt to educate. All right, the next one. Are you ready for this one? This one...
Maybe I might have to go bathroom after this one.
Yeah? How about you go bathroom now?
Go bathroom now?
Yeah. I reckon. Because the food won't arrive for another 15 minutes.
Let's wait. Let's call us. We got time.
It says estimated arrival 15 minutes. How far are these guys? Ropes Crossing. What the heck? Oh, it's not too far. All right, you good?
Yeah, we're good. We got 15. Let's go.
The next one. Where'd the question go? Oh, here we are. When are you both going to find wives to get married? Yallah. When are you both going to find wives to get married? All right, look, Paul, I'm not going to mince any words here. All right, I'm just going to ask you straight. I'm going to start by stating something, then I'm just going to ask the question, okay?
All right.
Paul, you're a good-looking guy. You train hard. You're learning how to fight. Monday, you said you had a banger sparring session. You clipped Anthony Jaja in the head so hard you broke your thumb.
That's not a good thing, by the way. I meant to punch wrong.
Yeah, it was a weird punch. But anyway.
I can explain what happened if you like.
No, it's okay. It's beside the point. You're well put together for the most part. You know, you're
questionable.
You're doing well in your career for the most part. Not questionable. You are doing well.
Thank God.
You are the host of Australia's #1 Maronite podcast.
Can you say that without a little smirk on your face?
Okay.
Is that possible?
We can. For someone that doesn't smile often, I don't know why I keep smiling when I say that. And yet, I would argue you're one of the most eligible bachelors. I would argue you're one of the most eligible bachelors in Sydney, if not Australia, if not the world.
Francis.
Okay? So now, hold on. Paul, I'm asking the question, okay? Is Paul Chidiac married? Yeah, mate. Finish it off. Is Paul Chidiac married?
Paul Chidiac is not married.
Okay. Is Paul Chidiac spoken for at the moment?
Paul Chidiac is not spoken for at the moment. Bro,
All right.
I don't know how to pour this.
You're just going to have to literally tip it completely vertical. Yeah. It's an odd-shaped bottle. We just finished it off. I'm going to have to talk to Simon about getting another one.
This is a great bottle, by the way.
It is. I'm going to save this as the original bottle from the podcast. So, Paul, you're not spoken for.
No.
What's the problem? Because that's what they say. That's how people in our community speak. Well, what's the problem? What's wrong with him?
But why does it have to be a problem?
Look, you can answer it how you please, but that's the question. What's the problem? What's going on?
Why did this question have to come up?
I didn't ask it. After the show, I'll tell you who did.
I wish I had an answer, Francis.
Yeah.
I really, really do. But
How old are you?
30.
30. Okay.
It's time. It's time.
Are you open?
Yeah, I'm open. Francis, can we not?
I didn't even ask a hard question.
I can just see that look on your face.
No. Look, listen. The question's aimed at both of us. You can turn this back on me after.
I'm going to.
Yeah, that's fine. And you can just. I'm not going to press you to say things you don't want to say, Paul.
No.
But
Listen,
genuine question, like you haven't like decided. Hey, this isn't happening.
No. I'm open. I'm always in prayer for my vocation, whatever that vocation may be.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I've asked myself the same thing. You know, why have I not found someone? Why am I not yet married? Is there a problem? Is there not? I don't know. All I know is if I'm not in the situation that I am in today,
Mm-hmm.
would everything with Maronite Down Under be where it is? Will I be where I am at work? Will my own mission be, I wouldn't say compromised, but would it still be going where it should be going? And this is where I just have to trust God that whatever his vocation is for me, whether it's marriage, whether it's finding someone today, whether it's finding someone tomorrow, whether it's not finding someone at all. We don't know. So I don't know. I don't know how else to answer that question besides the way I just answered it.
Would you be okay with never getting married?
I don't know. I would want to be married. I would want to be.
But you're not sure if you would be, how you would cope if it never happened?
Well, are we talking about priesthood here? Or are we just talking about not being married?
Just not being married.
Then I probably wouldn't sit well with me, no. But if I wasn't married because I had a vocation to the priesthood, then that's a different story. But I'm not the one that gets called delicious. You can't throw this at me. You can't throw a spanner at me and expect me not to return it. Can we get the camera? Can you just say something so the camera goes to you, please? Just I want him to
look, Paul. Someone submitted this question, and I think my line of questioning has been very respectful. You didn't. Oh man, I don't know why I brought you on the show, man. This is a disaster.
You're right.
You know how
I've never seen you so quiet before.
The problem is there's a microphone in front of me. I can't say everything and anything. All right, Paul, you know how in court when someone says something out of line, they make them strike it out of the record? I wish I could do that. And I've made a commitment to my viewers. I'll always be as authentic and raw. So I'm not going to edit that out for the sake of it unless I have a very good reason. Bloody hell, man. I don't know. I don't even know what to say to that. All right. All right. I'm going to continue my line of questioning before you can turn it back on me, okay? We're just going to continue.
Okay. Let's go.
What is something about you, and this isn't specific about relationships. It could be, but it could just be general. But
let's go.
What is something about you that people wouldn't know unless they really got to know you sort of intimately?
So someone who doesn't know me?
Or doesn't know you very intimately?
That I'm very much a smart ass. So...
honest question, you don't think people think that?
No, like people have, like let's say people who have watched the show and have never met me before.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what we're...
Yeah, maybe. You can interpret it as you want.
Let's use that as an example.
Yeah.
And they might meet me, and there's been a few occasions where they have, and you try to be as professional as you can be, if that's the right word to use, because they know you through Maronite Down Under, what have you. They watch the show, and then I can only hold that up for about 3.5 minutes before I start being a smartass. And they're like, oh, we're going to tell Father Charbel. I'm like, Habib, there's nothing that bloke doesn't know about me, you know? But that's probably one thing. Probably not the answer you're looking for.
No, I'm not looking for.
I don't know what you're always looking for something.
No,
you're always
I'm not.
setting up.
I'm just looking for the truth. That's it.
The truth will set you free.
I want to give people an opportunity to get to know you as a person, not just the host of this or the person from Instagram or person from a show. Just like I don't want to be known that way either. You know, what would you say? And you don't have to answer this, right? Because I don't want this to become like some application for the Bachelor Maronite edition or something.
I would argue that you're Maronite's most eligible bachelor at the moment. That would be my argument. Yeah.
No. Psychologically, I haven't been cleared.
No, but that's fine. We don't need to clear that. Some women like that.
Let me finish my line of questioning.
All right.
What's a trait that you very much value in your significant other? Not to say it's the only trait, obviously, but
honesty. Always honesty. I have this thing that ticks in my head if I feel someone's not being honest, and that ticks.
Why is that?
I don't know. Is
it like a past trauma? Obviously, we don't want you to say what it is specifically, but is it just things you've gone through, or just how you are?
I think certain parts in my life have, or certain periods in my life have led me to value the trait. And I think everyone does value it, but I think and this is probably one of my burdens as well, is react a certain way if I feel that someone isn't being honest. This isn't so much as well in a relationship. This could be anything. This could be my relationship with you, my friendship with you. This could be anything. But I would have to say one of my probably most important traits, not the only one, but honesty is up there. Is that it?
Let me see how far this food is.
Hang on. I have a question for you.
For me?
For you.
Tell me.
Why do you think you're single?
Why do I think I'm single?
You can't throw these questions to me, you know.
I'm more than happy to answer to the best of my ability. Why do I think I'm single? I think there's a number of reasons. I think the current reason, meaning the reason now, is I'm not quite sure I've ran into anyone where, you know, things have clicked in the way you'd want it to. The more past reason, what made me single before, I think I had a lot of unresolved issues that I needed to work through with how I think about life and my priorities. Spiritually, I think I had a few areas to progress in. Obviously, I'm being deliberately vague about some things because, you know,
you have to be prudent.
Yeah, we've got to be prudent. We're not going to literally put everything on the internet. But I think if I look back at the past and the situations I found myself in, I think there was a lot to mature in my mindset in how I look at my role in a relationship, what my priorities are, how to effectively live out those priorities, rather than just acting on sort of impulses or idealizations of how I think things should be, if that makes sense. So it's look, I don't like to go down the road generally of pointing fingers when two people are no longer in a relationship and
it's their fault. He did this.
Yeah, it's very easy to do that, and I don't like to do that. I like to, for my own sake, I like to reflect on definitely what I could have done better, and
self-accountability.
Yeah, just be accountable for the things that I could have done differently or I could have done better. And it's been a couple of years now since I've sort of dated or anything. And I think in that time I've been reflecting a lot about like what is it that I was doing that sort of led me to end up in the same situation again and again. And I think it's, even if we don't admit it, sometimes we act out of insecurity more than we realize. And so becoming secure about who you are, especially in the eyes of God, becoming confident in who you are and knowing exactly what your priorities are, makes it very easy. It makes it a lot easier, I think, to filter out situations as they play out, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. Is that specific and vague enough at the same time?
I think you did well.
Yeah.
I think
it's hard. Look,
well.
it's a tough, like I said, it's a tough.
There's only so much we're going to say on camera.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Like we're not going to go down that road. Our community is a little bit closer than sometimes I'd like it to be. But at the same time, I think it's okay to be honest and speak generally about, what are the things, like idealization is one of the biggest issues I think I see in our community. What do you mean? So people go into relationships with these ideals, a list of things that Is your thumb okay?
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
So people go into relationships with like a list of ideals, things that they believe should be in the other person, whether it's aesthetically or appearance-wise or whether it's character-wise or all these things, which is like, oh, no, this is how a husband should be or a wife should be. And I think ideals can distract us from virtue. I'll give you an example, right? Some guy, some solid, conservative, traditional Maronite guy.
Paul Chidiac, right? How, might say, as an example, oh, it's very important that, my wife can cook. And it's like you might meet someone who can't cook. Kafto potato to be exact.
Kafto potato is your favorite?
It's up there.
It's up there. So let's just take that for an example, right? And it's like, oh, if you meet someone and they can't cook, does that mean they wouldn't make a great wife and a great mother? Does that mean they can't learn how to cook? Like if she's a woman of God, God-fearing, growing in virtue, and she loves you, I'm sure she'll make sure you're fed, But it's like we can become obsessed with the ideal.
But is she going to feed me kafto potato is the question.
It depends how much that matters to you.
It's pretty important.
Yeah,
and that's kafto potato.
And then you might find someone who can make your kafto potato, and it just ends up that they're lacking in many other virtues that will probably give you more peace than the meal would.
But am I eating kafto potato?
You are.
There
you go.
Don't worry about it.
We'll see how much you worry.
No, I'm joking.
But
I'm joking. Relax. Everyone listening, I'm joking. All right? I'm trying to troll Francis a little bit.
You're not trolling me, bro. It's your life, bro. You can go.
Relax.
You can marry a professional chef who's going to give you a headache your whole life. It doesn't bother me. But my whole point is when we get caught up with ideals, we become so fixated on the ideals, we're not leaving any room for virtue to flourish. And so there's all these ideals about what it means to be a traditional wife and a traditional husband. And I mean, some of those ideals would probably personally benefit me, but I still don't like them because they're not real. For example, if a woman's like, oh, I want a masculine man. So, oh, what does that mean? And if she was to say, oh, he's tall and he's got a beard and a nice voice. I would love if that was the case.
You're tall and you have a beard.
Yeah, the voice, questionable for sure.
Subjective.
But I would love if that was the case. But it's not. That doesn't make me masculine. It doesn't make me a man. It doesn't make me any more of a man than anyone else who doesn't have those exact three things, for example. But when we become caught up with the ideals, and I see this a lot in Catholic social media, is sometimes ideals are promoted and they can distract people from potentially finding someone who's right for them, but not in the way that they imagined. Sometimes the virtue is packaged a little bit differently to what we expect.
Yeah. So for an example on what you just painted before, you meet someone that ticks all the boxes, they're a God-fearing, they're a virtuous woman.
Yeah.
But they can't cook kafto potato.
Yeah.
So I say, no, thank you. Is that what you're talking about?
As an example, yeah. As an example. Like there are guys now, for example, they'll prance around and be like, oh, I'm looking for a wife. She's going to be a great stay-at-home mum. And then they meet some like a beautiful woman, right? And, she's just finished her qualification in, whatever it is she's done, and she's working. And they're 2 dates in, And it's like, will you be a stay-at-home wife and do this and do this and do that? It's like, brother, it's a second date. It's okay.
Taul
Belak shway. Just let's have the meal, get to know the person, see if you guys get along. At the end of the day, you're seeking virtue. You're seeking a God-fearing Catholic woman with virtue. If those things are present, when the time comes, she will choose her family, always, over herself.
You had a talk at St. Alpha the other day, and you're talking, the talk was about women submit to your husbands.
Wives submit to your husbands, yeah.
Sorry. You had said something, and I actually want to bring it up because I found it, I don't know what the word is, but it resonated, not resonated, but it kind of took me by surprise how you answered it. And you were telling a story about how someone asked you, Francis, is it the woman's role to make sure the dishes are done? Or what was the question? What would you do if the dishes are done?
No, the question was actually, should a husband do the dishes?
That was the question.
That's the question.
And how did you answer it? Because this was a loaded question.
It is loaded.
It's a loaded question.
In multiple ways, yeah. There's layers to it. So I was asked in a group chat, should a husband do the dishes? And I knew what they were trying to get me, not get me, but I knew where they were going. They thought, Francis is this conservative Catholic. He's going to harp on about how men shouldn't touch the dishes. But really, it's not really a yes or no answer. What I said to them is the framing behind the question is wrong. The premise of the question is wrong. We're treating dishes like a job or a chore, and then we have to assign it to either husband or wife almost, which I think is the wrong way to look at it. What I said is a man is the head of the house. Biblically, in the Christian faith, that's how it is, okay? If he's the head of the house, then that means everything is his responsibility inside the house, from the dishes to the vacuuming to the mopping to the kids being bathed to everyone being fed to money being brought home to everything. The question then after that becomes, what's essentially been delegated and mutually understood to be done by who? Given that, it's like, okay, it's my job to make sure the dishes are done. If my wife, she might be a stay-at-home wife or a stay-at-home mum, and it's okay, you're going to handle the dishes? Yeah, cool. Okay, you're handling the dishes. If for some reason she can't handle the dishes, I'll sort out the dishes. Whether I do it myself, whether I get someone else to do it, whether I get my neighbor to come do it, whether I hire someone, it doesn't matter.
You call your mum.
Whether you call your mum, no, you think my mum would come? She'd come just to take a swing at me. But the mindset needs to be one of accountability. As a man, I'm accountable.
Yeah.
Right? Now, they were like, oh, wow, that's such a surprising answer. Okay, so you're saying like men should do the dishes. I said, hold on, that's not what I said. Again, you're missing the point. The question is about responsibility. Who's responsible? Okay, ultimately it's him. But if it's essentially been delegated, as the church fathers would suggest, or, there's a mutual understanding, hey, you're going to handle the dishes, then in the normal situation, you're handling the dishes. Mm. Now, what tends to happen when people ask these questions, they ask a general question, but really they're thinking about exceptions. And so if I had a stay-at-home wife, there's a good chance she's looking after the dishes, okay? There's a good chance she's looking after the housework and looking after dinner, okay? Now someone go, oh, what if one day she was in a car accident and she was in hospital and she can't make dinner? So, well, congratulations, genius. Uber Eats. Don't talk to me about exceptions. We're not talking about the exception. Ultimately, I'll make sure dinner's on the table.
We're having cereal.
We're having cereal. Exactly. Cereal's great. But it's the mindset of accountability.
Yeah.
Okay. As a man, I'm accountable for everything in my home. And we agree through mutual understanding and delegation, hey, okay, she's handling that. So she handles that. And I would hope if she's not handling it, it's because there's a good reason, in which case I'll take care of it. So it's not a matter of yes or no, should I not, etc. It's a matter of having an understanding as to who's doing what, but as a man, understanding you are ultimately accountable for everything.
Mm. Where's his Uber Eats?
He should be pulling up. Looks like he's waiting to make it. It's a tough intersection to turn right at, to be honest. We've been both watching his car intently. He should be pulling up. If you want, we'll take a little break.
You can
go to the bathroom.
Done.
and then we'll pick up on this topic.
Got to put my shoes on.
After dinner. And we are back. I almost don't want to admit how long that break was. Let's just say when the break started, it was light outside. It is no longer light outside.
We had things to do.
We had to go grab a coffee. Honestly, I'm due for a siesta, but I think get the coffee, get back into it, we'll be right. So we left off.
Well, sorry. Thank you for dinner, by the way, Francis. It was delicious.
Sahten. Look, it's all part of the Francis Tamer Show experience.
It was delicious. Thank you.
You're welcome. Listen, it was allegedly said anyway. We don't have any proof. But we're going to move on from that. I think where we left it off was the whole question about dishes. I had someone say to me, Francis, you just found a way to explain why men shouldn't do the dishes without saying that men shouldn't do the dishes.
You have a way of getting around a lot of questions, Francis.
That's what I do.
I got one for you. I thought about this on the break, right? And I just want to get your opinion.
This is why I shouldn't let our breaks be too long.
I'm gonna call these people out as well, right? So around the corner from my work, there's a shop called The Body Space. Okay.
The Body Space.
Now she does beauty. She does like waxing, laser. They got someone in there that does teeth whitening, all of that.
Do you attend?
No,
honest question.
Francis,
honest question.
Okay, we can get into that after, right? Don't worry about that for now. Anyways, Christine runs The Body Space. And Christine decides on her Instagram to do a poll. New ick found. Ick. Firstly, hate that word. But new ick found. Men who use umbrellas. Yes or no? And every girl said it was an ick. Every girl. It was like there was like two people that said no, except me. Bro, I saw that. I stormed into her shop. Right? I was like, bro, what are you doing? This is not on. Like, this is not right. There was about 3 girls in there as well. And they all said, yeah, that's an ick. A guy holding an umbrella for himself. No. Now, I haven't used an umbrella since, but one has not to do with the other.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on that, the ick? I hate that word, by the way, ick.
Why do you hate it?
Ick, where did it come from? Like, it was just nowhere. Now all of a sudden everything is an ick. Ick.
I mean, they just found a way to describe the things that they find off-putting about men.
But an umbrella?
Oh, I'm not saying what they find off-putting is reasonable. I'm just saying that's the word. So using an umbrella is an ick now.
Using an umbrella is an ick.
And it was like most women that voted thought
I think almost every woman voted that it was an ick.
Wow. Why is it? Is it like emasculating for a man to use an umbrella?
I don't know. Apparently we can't protect
how much
ourselves
is it raining?
from water. It's raining. Hello, I haven't used an umbrella since, Francis.
Yeah, it obviously...
Right?
Yeah, it hit you where it hurts.
Like I said, one has not to do with the other.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not that influenced.
You know, look, it's interesting because we'll talk about these women with these ridiculous icks, and it's like, relax, you've got, like, multiply that by 10. That's how many icks we have towards you probably. But regardless of that, the only times I've ever really, and this is not because I think it's not masculine, but it's out of laziness. I don't really use an umbrella. And the only time I've ever really had an umbrella I'd keep in the car is like when I had a partner or I was, you know.
You're just a man's man.
What is it?
You're just a man's man.
Or I'm just lazy.
I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm not one that's, it's raining. I barely take a jacket with me when it's cold, let alone an umbrella when it's raining. But I do find it pretty ironic how these women have these remember talking about ideals, the idealization?
Yeah. Can't use an umbrella.
Yeah. Well, they're creating this man that doesn't exist. And then they're going to scratch their head and be like, oh, how come there are no good men out there?
Listen.
Where are all the good men?
I don't know, but I don't use an umbrella.
Meaning?
You just, never mind, just went over.
Do you want to let Christine know that you don't use an umbrella?
No, Francis. No.
Is that what you were getting at?
No, I was getting
Look at the camera there and just, you can tell her.
I don't use an umbrella.
Yeah.
No, it was just
What's the question?
Something funny. What do you feel about that? That's the question.
Oh, look, I think it's become pretty excessive with men and women pointing fingers at each other saying this is an ick. I mean, I hope no man describes a woman like that because you're just emasculating yourself if you use the word ick. Legitimately use it. But yeah, I think it's a bit much. Oh, it's an ick when they do this, and You know what? You know what we're going to do? Because I think this has become a thing, yeah?
That's why I brought it up. I think it's getting out of control, to be honest.
Let's go to where the truth is always found. Reddit. What are some of your biggest icks about men? I'm a guy, but I hate it when other guys act like they're better. All right, relax. I'm a guy. Not knowing how to clean and making no effort to learn. It's pathetic, really. You know what? It's that what's that thing when you use your incompetence as an excuse not to do something? Oh, you do it better than me, so you should do it. Incompetence. I need to get myself a Jamie. Someone who can weaponized incompetence. Have you heard of weaponized incompetence?
Never.
It's when like a man will be like, oh, I don't do the dishes because every time I do it, she tells me I don't do it well. So I let her do it because she does it better than I do.
I think that's a fair argument.
I think it's completely fair enough. I don't see the issue.
I think
just let everyone stick to their strengths.
We all have our talents.
I wonder why we're both single. I wonder why it's a Saturday night and we're together.
we both hold umbrellas.
Yeah, pretty much. Another ick. Calling basic grooming gay and just not doing it. Flossing, gay. Washing your face, gay. Using chapstick on those crusty, hardened, peeling, scabby lips, gay. Shampoo and conditioner, gay. Bro, jeez.
Hey, that rule that you made walking up those stairs, why are you gay? Bro, that was the best thing I've ever seen.
People who are rude to waitresses.
That's fair.
Fucking,
that's fair enough.
That. Yeah, it just means they're just disrespectful generally. Spitting.
Why are you laughing for that one?
Because from when we got out of the car all the way here, you spat like 4 times. I do it too. The men who go from 0 to sexual in a couple of texts. They're obviously not Jesus people.
Definitely not.
Definitely not Jesus people. Blowing their nose by blocking one nostril and blowing air through the other.
I do that. I do that all the time, to be honest.
That's the official Lebanese way to blow your nose. I don't see the issue there at all.
You're having fun on this Reddit, aren't you?
Yeah, look, I've never really intentionally. I've seen reels. There's an Instagram page where they list an ick and then they scroll through a notes thing and then they add
642.
Yeah, something like that.
Can't send Instagram reels.
My biggest ick is a lack of effort on dates. Like, please stop wasting my time. Either improve your social skills or don't go on a date with me. I hate going on dates where it's like me shooting interview questions and getting back one-word answers. Is that a thing?
I don't know, man.
You wouldn't be like that on a date. Paul takes the lead.
I'm very shy.
Yeah, obviously. What about you? Are you a first date dinner or first date coffee or does it depend on how you know the person already?
I think it would depend on how I know the person already.
Mm.
I think if I were to take someone on their first date is more just get to know who they are. So I don't know. Coffee, walk, dinner.
Oh, these are icks that men have about women. I was going to say, surely men aren't sitting there being interviewed. Anyway, so it just depends, you were saying?
Circumstantial. Circumstantial. I like nice long walks on the beach.
When it's not raining.
When it's even if it is, doesn't matter.
Do you know what, man? I wonder. So it's an ick. It's just an ick if he's using an umbrella on his own. Right?
But if he's holding it
for her,
it's not an ick.
No, that's okay because she's Princess Jasmine and he's Aladdin.
Yeah. Some say I look like Aladdin.
Honestly, do you really think that a modern day Princess Jasmine gives an Aladdin a chance?
I think he's got a fighting chance.
Really?
I think he does.
That's optimistic.
It is. I'm an optimistic man, Francis.
This is why we're here on a Saturday night, Paul.
Mario just called me. I should just call him, put him on speaker.
Mario asked me the funniest questions, man. I'd be too scared to have him on speaker, man. I don't know what he's going to ask me next. We were hanging out at your place after a wedding, waiting 2.5 hours for our avocado cocktails.
Don't do it.
Mind you, this guy over here, we Uber Eats avocado cocktails.
I'm at war with
And-
all Uber drivers.
And he lives in an apartment on the top level of his building. And so the driver comes and he calls him to go outside and meet him. And Paul says, no, you've got to come up to my door.
No, yeah.
You've got to come up to my apartment. Long story short, the guy's confused. Paul's yelling, just go down the driveway. Just go all the way down. There's a door. Trying to describe it. Then the guy cancels the order and leaves. And then because Paul is so principled about something so irrelevant, we had to wait another hour and a half.
But you don't understand. You don't understand the issues I've had with these Uber delivery drivers. You don't understand. I've explained it. I'm not going to explain it now on
It
air.
must be really hard for you.
It's not that it's hard
You
for
sound
me.
traumatized.
I am a little bit traumatized, but there are certain principles which I will stick to, and if that means we have to wait an extra 20 minutes
We all go down with you.
or an hour and 20 minutes, then so be it.
Long story short, we're
We got
sitting
our
around.
cocktails.
Eventually, we're hanging out. It's me, you, Mario's there, Chris Francis, Andrew Alphonse. Do you want me to?
I got it.
And Mario out of nowhere. Mario out of nowhere is like, Francis, why are you single? I was like, is this guy serious? And then I try and dodge the question. And then Paul is like, no, hang on. He didn't answer. And
You can't get it past me anymore.
Mario just keeps firing. So, Paul, what are your icks?
I don't have any icks, Francis.
Come on.
I actually don't have any icks. I don't like the word ick. I
All right,
don't
what
agree
word?
with it.
What are some...
Francis, we're not doing this.
No.
No, we're not doing this.
Hold on.
We're not doing this.
Why not?
Let's go back to the questions that you had.
What are you worried about?
I'm not worried about anything.
No, you don't have to call them an ick, but what are things that you just generally find, like, I don't think it's an appropriate way for, women to act.
Francis,
What are you afraid of?
I have no fear.
You clearly do. You look terrified.
Francis, I don't have any icks. I don't know what you want me to say.
I just want the truth. All right,
You
Paul,
can't handle the truth.
Paul's concerned. He doesn't know how to cross the arbitrary social line that's been drawn on the internet.
No, here we go. Francis has
That's
to get
okay.
all theological.
It's
once
not
again. Here we
theological,
go.
but all I'm saying is Christine from the Body Space can put up a story, which is fine, and ask people about umbrellas. That's fine. Why don't we ask people a question for ourselves?
I think that's fair. You can ask a question for yourself.
Yeah, we can ask the question.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I answered the question. Anyway, I wonder what your icks are.
What my icks are? Again, I don't like the term, like you. I just think it's such a degenerate term.
It is.
It's too TikTok-y. It's got TikTok vibes to it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like TikTok philosophy,
I feel like it just came out of nowhere. The word ick. We never used the word ick growing up.
Yeah, it did come out of nowhere. That's what I'm saying. It's a TikTok generation thing. But what am I equivalent to we need another word. What's the word we're going to use?
Bro, you're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah. What are my icks, so to speak? I'm not sure I've thought about it. I just find generally I'm pretty accommodating to everyone's traits. Says my Instagram, which is just
that's a very
300
political statement.
reels of me ranting about everyone and anyone.
Thank God I got bashed growing up.
Look, the one that was mentioned here, I would agree with, where some women go on dates and they're just sort of just there to receive, and you feel like you're, like the way this bloke described it on Reddit, is like, I feel like I'm just interviewing someone and they're just giving one-word answers. And it's like, if you're not interested, then don't come. Like, it's okay to reciprocate. And I think it's a bit of a problem sort of in our community when you have sort of these girls who are a little bit more wrapped in bubble wrap. Ooh. Wrapped in bubble wrap, and they just expect things to sort of happen for them. But I think life's a little bit more reciprocal than that.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm trying to answer your question as best I can. I've genuinely never really thought about this much. At least not enough. At least not enough to rattle off a list. I think my answers generally are not so superficial. I think that's what it is. So like right now on the internet, it's very superficial, the conversation about icks and all this stuff. For me, it's more like issues with deeper understandings about the role of men and women. You know, and
Say it without a smirk on your face.
and
But
and whether they align theologically and biblically.
so knowing what you know after tonight,
Yeah.
will you hold an umbrella when it's raining?
But like I said, I don't keep an umbrella in my car. I don't really bother if it's... I never really used one before anyway. The only time I've ever kept an umbrella with me is when I know that I have someone with me that requires an umbrella. I've never really felt... It's never been bad enough for me to sort of feel like I need to keep one with me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it's more out of laziness, like I said. It's not really some moral principle that it's icky. Did I use that word right?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's move on from this ick subject.
But anyway, Christine knows now you don't use an umbrella. That's what's important.
It's not about...
So moving on.
It's not about whether Christine knows or doesn't know. It's not about it, whether anyone knows or doesn't know. I just found it amusing, that was all. And I
Yeah.
thought about it. That's when I laughed to myself in the break and I said, I thought about something.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you when we're back on.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to that stuff, I just think, yeah, like it's somewhat amusing, but in the same way, I just think, you know what? Don't complain when you feel like there's no good guys out there, when you've got this monstrous list of all these things which are, you know, considered icky. Idealizations. They're not healthy, in my view, anyway. They're not healthy. Shall we move on to the next one?
Let's go.
This person said, arm wrestle each other live on air. Loser gets a clean punch to the arm.
Listen, I would, but...
Yeah, I would as well, but my shoulder.
No. I'm over us, you know, competing when I have broken bones.
I don't want to do even.
I don't mind. I would.
I don't even want to.
We can go left hand.
Left hand? That would be a disaster for me, to be honest.
Both of us.
Yeah.
There's a word where you can use both hands. What's it called?
Ambidextrous.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Someone asked me the other day if I'm ambidextrous. I said, what is that?
All right. To our friend, Mr. Kerbej, we will not be arm wrestling live on air, unfortunately, due to injuries and just generally, we don't want to be enticed into pride live on air. At least I don't. I'm speaking for myself. Loser gets a clean punch to the arm. We punch the crap out of each other every week anyway. We don't need to do that. Next person asked, at what point does an obsession with physique become toxic for men?
Oh, that's a good question. You all right?
Yeah, I'm just adjusting the chair. Go for it.
Repeat the question. At what point does it become...
Does an obsession with physique become toxic for men?
I think at the point where it becomes your sole focus and a means to its end. I don't think there's anything...
You mean it becomes an end rather than a means to an end?
It becomes a... yeah. Well,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah. That's right. It's tough to word, but there's nothing wrong with striving for a great physique, right? But you can't forget the process in which to obtain it as well. So when you're talking about when it's your main goal and what's the word he used? Sorry.
Obsession with
Obsession,
physique.
okay. And an obsession can be a dangerous thing because you and I have had a chat. I know we mentioned it earlier. Let's talk about steroids. And we've spoken about steroids and whether one, maybe not steroids, even if it's TRT, testosterone replacement. And when we speak about it, we don't really talk too much about the juice per se, but it's more what are we lacking by using this? And I think once you're obsessed, then you're only looking for that end result. You're not looking for what you can learn and what you can gain throughout the process. And I think that's one of the things a lot of people miss out on. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I agree with you.
Like when we spoke, we were talking about, the discipline you will learn, what you obtain, the grind, all the virtues you inherit, or at least maybe not the right word is inherit, but all the virtues you'll grow in.
Yeah.
Right? If it becomes your only obsession, that end goal becomes the only obsession, and you're not looking at everything else, then I guess that's a point where it can be, doesn't mean that it is, but it can be. because then you start to maybe compromise on morality in order to achieve it.
Yeah.
But if you're doing everything right, if you're dieting and you're waking up early every morning and you're going, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Would you call that an obsession, though? I wouldn't even call that obsession.
Well, that's the thing.
Because the question says, at what point does obsession become a problem? I would say
when
if
you're
it's
compromising.
I would say any obsession is a problem.
Yeah.
If you would consider it an obsession, then it's already toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But no, I tend to agree. I would say when the end becomes more important than the means, and you're essentially just feeding your vanity. But I don't think that's going to be a problem for me for a long time. Would you agree, Paul?
I will not comment.
Yeah. Plead the fifth. Plead the fifth. The next one, I think that's it, actually. There were two more, but they were, again, with all respect to these people, they're Googleable questions. Actually, one of them is about an opinion. What's your genuine thoughts on Protestantism?
Where do I start? What's that guy's name? George Janko? He just he released a reel and on one of the episodes about the Eucharist. Did you come across that?
I've been following that very closely, yeah.
So he had come across and he had said that it's the dirt, they're worshipping dirt, something. He spoke very poorly against the Blessed Sacrament, which he since removed his post. And there were a lot of Catholics that actually came out and
he apologized, actually.
We'll get to it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of Catholics came out and brought up what he said, and everyone had their opinion, which was great. Then eventually he came out, and I think yesterday or the day before, he ended up apologizing for it. The issue I have with Protestantism can be encapsulated in exactly what just happened, right? Protestantism, they follow something, as you know, called sola scriptura, Scripture alone. And to them, it's the Holy Spirit which interprets Scripture. But the Holy Spirit works for the individual. The question I would have for any Protestant, even in this situation, is, was the Holy Spirit absent when he made that comment? And if it wasn't, then why would he need to apologize? Say, if you're going to interpret something your own way.
To be fair though, Paul, he wasn't apologizing in the sense that he was wrong about the Eucharist in his view. He was apologizing in that he didn't speak with reverence to other
and
Christians' beliefs and with love, yeah.
Okay, but if something is the truth, then it's the truth forever. Is that a fair statement? So what I mean by that is this, right? If you're going to read the Bible today and you have this whole, and I brought it up earlier, self-interpretation. And you're going to read it and be like, okay, well, you know, Matthew 3:12 says this, and this is exactly what it means. And you're going to stand firm on that. The Holy Spirit has spoken to me, this is what it means. Then for the rest of your life, you should never change on what your belief is about that verse. But what you will find with Protestantism is throughout time, it does change. Whether it's for the individual, whether it's for the church as a whole. The fact that it changes just on its own, and I'm not going to talk about the Catholic Church and the history of it, just for the individual person, the individual church, the very fact that their idea about Scripture changes proves that it's not inspired by the Holy Spirit. Otherwise, it wouldn't. So the problem I would have is exactly that, false interpretation of Scripture. I think that if Christ instituted a church and that church is his bridegroom and he's married to that church, he is one with that church, we should all be in unity together. We should not be divided. And Protestantism takes away the role of the church. It increases the individual to the state of infallibility, and they claim something which cannot be disproved on its own. If I tell you something, this is inspired to me, how are you going to disprove it? This is what it means. God has spoken to me. That becomes the issue. Then we somewhat become a laughingstock to other faiths as well. And I know I've mentioned this to you before, where you have Protestant pastors, you know, preaching certain heresies. You have them wearing the LGBT robes and talking about love and inclusivity. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
These words I'm hopeless with tonight. But they start preaching these things as if Christ would have preached it. And imagine you're not Christian or you're not strong in your faith and you're looking at this, like, bro, these people are off their heads. Like, it's not right. It's not right. Your left leg and your right leg should not be in different directions. They should be in unity. That's my issue with it. I think if Christ instituted a church, which he did, then we should all be part of that church, or at least strive to be part of that church that he instituted.
Yeah.
And there's a long list, but that's, to me, that's probably the one I'll focus on.
No, good answer. To the person who asked, that's Paulie's answer. What are my genuine thoughts on Protestantism? I'll start with my thoughts on Protestants. I think most Protestants are well-meaning, well-intentioned. They believe in Christ as the Son of God, and I think I would like to think they're truly seeking his church. In terms of Protestantism, my genuine thought is, at the end of the day, every Christian believes in a pope, every single one. I believe it's the Bishop of Rome. Protestants believe Protestantism tells you that it's you. That's the only difference, in my view. That's just my personal thing. And so I don't think there's a case where no one believes in the papacy. I just believe we're disputing who the Pope really is. We say it's not me and it's not you, but it's the Bishop of Rome. And a lot of them say, well, no, it's essentially what we interpret out of Scripture.
It's actually a great way to put it.
Yeah, it's that in reality, that's what it is. Someone has to be the interpreter. And so if you say, I'm reading it this way, I disagree with the church, the bishops, the Pope, church fathers, you are making yourself the supreme pontiff, essentially, the supreme interpreter of Scripture. And therein lies the problem. There is one more question here, but it's, discuss church teachings or something. Googleable question. We're not going to do anything Googleable. Such an odd word, Googleable. So that wraps up those ones. So, Paula, you mentioned you weren't always practicing in the faith. What was your faith like growing up?
Good question. So we weren't, as a family, we weren't practicing. I grew up in a broken home. My mum, God bless her, she raised 4 sons on her own. It wasn't easy. But there hit a point where I would not understand certain things. So, for instance, it would be like I would know it's Sunday, I would have to go to church. But instead of going to Mass, I probably spent, a few years in the matter of just walking into a church, doing the sign of the cross and leaving and thinking, hey, I've been to church. And it's funny how the devil works, because I had never read the Bible. I still haven't read it cover to cover. But I hadn't really read anything in the Bible. But I could tell you what wasn't in there. I could tell you, where does it say in the Bible to go to Mass? Where does it say in those words? And I was already using these arguments. And this was before Instagram and all of that. So it used to be the same thing, self-interpretation. I can just do what I need to do for God and nothing else matters. But that's how it was. It was just faith was a secondary, not a primary part of my life, where you would have it, but not where it should be, not anywhere near where it should be. And then one day, a friend of mine just took me to St. John the Beloved, and I went to my first Mass in a while that wasn't Christmas and Easter or a funeral. And that's where I met Father Yusuf, met a lot of the youth, and from there my journey began. And it still took a couple of years before I actually delved into the faith, but that was a start.
And why St. John's, considering how far it is from where you live?
Well, like I said, a friend took me there, and this was a parish that they were going to as a family for their whole life. And I just resonated quite a lot with the Mass there and Father Yusuf, and the church itself is beautiful. The youth there were very inviting at the time. Like I said, it was still a couple of years before I officially joined the youth. But Father Yusuf, and I think this is quite an important role for the chaplain of the parish, especially the youth chaplain, is he was the first priest that knew my name. So just the very fact that I would walk in and he would see me, he'll be like, "Hi, Paul, how are you?" That itself was calling me back to the church. Something so simple. But there was something about St. John the Beloved which called out to me specifically. And in hindsight, that's where we film Maronite Down Under.
What was it about it that called you out?
That I don't know. I just know that after that first Mass, I have probably missed something like 3 Masses since. From never attending Mass, really never attending, to all of a sudden I'll make sure that I, rotate my whole weekend around attending Mass. I don't know exactly what it was, but there's something about...
And how long until you ended up on the youth committee?
Probably about 4 years later. 4 years later. So it was... I was attending, and maybe about a year and a half, 2 years later, I had met Jessie Hartfuch, was the youth coordinator at the time. I had met her properly after Mass one day, and then she added me to the youth chat.
Yeah.
I started helping out there on Wednesdays, and I never really had anyone that I could ask about the faith to. It's not that I didn't want to know. So I did want to know. I never knew what to use on the internet. I never knew the difference between, Catholic and non-Catholics. I just thought everyone was a believer in Christ, and that was enough. Then eventually I started hanging around people or meeting people that if I had questions, they could answer. So Jessie was one of them, and I did her head in for a good part of, 12 months. Somewhere in between that period as well, we had organised a meeting with Father Maroon, who was a superior of the parish at the time. And with that meeting, I had organised a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainties that I had. Why are we Catholic? Why aren't we Muslim? Why aren't we Jews if Christ was Jew? Why am I Catholic and not Protestant? Why aren't we born again? Why aren't we this? Why aren't we that? I think a lot of the issues, which I found this out later on, we learn a lot of things in school which may not be correct about our faith, which I actually have a huge issue with now that I'm thinking about it.
Such as what?
Okay, so one of the things that we're taught is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are not real people that wrote the Gospels. They might be real people, but they're not the actual ones that wrote the Gospels. They're just names attributed to the Gospels.
Is that what you were taught?
That's what I was taught.
Wow.
I was taught a few things. I was also taught that anything in the Old Testament, anything, we don't have to take as true. We can just take the meaning behind it, which brings a lot of questions, because then I would believe that. So then the question is, okay, well, what about Moses? Was Moses true or wasn't he true? Because if it wasn't true, then what's Christ talking about? If they weren't real events, what's Christ referring to? And to say such a blanket statement, it was tough. If you were to have asked a teacher in my high school, is it sinful to have sex before marriage? Their answer was never yes, unless you asked a religious teacher. It was always, well, if you love the other person, then,
I mean, even if you were lucky with religion teachers as well.
So you ask these questions because you want to hear an answer. You don't want to hear justification for an action. So being somewhat outside of the faith and then hearing all of that, they stick with you as you start learning. So when you learn something like, well, hang on a second, that's not what I was taught. I was taught this. So you literally start scraping back everything you've been taught to learn again, basically from scratch.
I mean, it's harder than learning from scratch because you've got to uncondition what you've learnt and then relearn rather than just learning from scratch. Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to meet the right people at the right point in time. I still had to choose to let go of certain ways of my life and really engulf in the church, really be involved and accept it. And then it got to a point where it dawned on me that either everything about the church, the history, the Bible, the authority, it's either all true or it isn't. There's no grey area. There's zero grey area. It's either 100% true
Yeah.
or it's 100% false. It's not 99%, they got it right with everything except contraception. No. It's either 100% true or it isn't. And if it's not 100% true, then what authority do we have to claim the Bible to be the Word of God? What are we doing? And that's the question I was faced with. And then that's something that in my heart, I truly believe.
So before you sort of came to the faith, what about when it came to, like social issues, same-sex marriage and abortion and stuff like that? Were you still somewhat traditional or conservative in that sense, or you didn't really care?
It wasn't something I thought too much about. I hit a point where I was very much into conspiracies though. Right? So I would watch a lot of the things on the Vatican. I used to think the Vatican archives were like, everything's bullshit. Who's this man in Rome telling me what to do? Everything's corrupt. I spent hours on it. Hours. So to talk about the individual things, it was more of just an objection to the hierarchy, like we spoke about earlier, just not understanding what it was. So if they would tell me, and back then though, this whole same-sex marriage ordeal, I was, if I'm not mistaken, I was in the faith but not completely in it. I don't think I think by that point actually I was against it. But if it had come out somewhat a few years earlier, I probably would have just been indifferent. It wouldn't have been something that I would have even thought much about it. I'd just been like,
had it come out later, do you think you would have been more active?
Definitely.
Sort of in the...
Definitely, yeah. But back then I wasn't as active as I am today. I think if there's a call for action now, I'm definitely, I would like to think I'll definitely one of those people that will put his hand up and say,
yeah, I think you would be. That was an interesting time.
I know you were at the forefront for a bit of that.
Yeah, we had a bit of a laugh. Yeah.
A bit of a laugh.
I had a bit of a laugh, a bit of trauma.
A bit.
We still have to deal with it anyway. Every year we've got to deal with this Mardi Gras bullshit. And it's very sad, and don't get me wrong, these people need our prayers, but a lot of lines get crossed every year. You saw the photo this year with the mocking of the crucifixion?
Yeah.
That's very upsetting because it's hard because I know we're not a faith of violence. I get that, and I'm not saying we should be, but it does bother me that they have become so comfortable with their mockery of our faith. That it really bothers me how comfortable they are mocking our faith, and surely we can do more than what we're doing without crossing any boundary, lines. Like Anthony Albanese marched in that. Our Prime Minister, who calls himself a Catholic, who goes to St. Charbel's on Good Friday every year to remember the Passion, right? But he's also at Mardi Gras. Do you know what Mardi Gras means, Paul?
Fat Tuesday.
Mardi Gras is, I think it's French for Fat Tuesday. Fat Tuesday being a literal feast that we have the Tuesday before Ash Wednesday as Catholics to feast on all the things that we're going to give up before we enter the period of fasting, almsgiving and prayer in lead up for Passion Week, in remembrance of Christ's crucifixion and death, and then we celebrate his resurrection. And our Prime Minister is more than welcome, I think, at our parishes. Everyone's welcome at our parishes. But it's like you're the leader of the country and you're coming to our parishes. I assume there's a diplomatic element to it, which is fine. But in the same token, you're at an event where this happens and you don't rebuke it. We haven't seen any defunding. We haven't seen any. It really bothers me, to be honest. There's way too much comfort taking the piss out of Christians. Imagine it was another faith. Imagine they mocked Judaism or they mocked Islam. It wouldn't be on from the government, and the Prime Minister would not have it.
I think there's something about Christianity that the secular world doesn't count it as attacking if it's about Christians. Anything else, even they'll defend. But very sad, man. Very, very sad. But what do we do in this situation? Like, what are we actually called to do?
Well,
Because the only
provided what we're doing is legal and moral, I think there's a lot we can do in terms of turning up. The first problem is, right, our Christians need to stop voting for parties that do not respect our faith. That's the first thing. Don't vote for them. Do you know all of the electorates that voted no in the same-sex plebiscite are all Labor seats where there was a government that was open about their support for same-sex marriage. A party, sorry, that's open about their support for same-sex marriage. Like, don't vote based on who's going to line your pockets with welfare. Vote first and foremost based on who at least is
shares in your morals.
Share in your moral values. And look, it might be in some electorates, it might be a Labor candidate. There are a few Labors who are still pretty good, just as there are many Liberals who are dropkicks. Like they pose as conservatives or more right wing, but really they're just a bunch of centrists.
It's hard when we speak about something like same-sex attraction or same-sex marriage, we should say, and they constantly hear phrases like love is love, and they will watch videos that, if Christ loved everyone, then he loves them how they are. And if they're not around people, if I wasn't around people like you, JC, Jesse, people from church that know the faith, when I'm trying to learn the faith, which direction do you think I would go? And I'll always use it for myself as an example, because you become like a sponge. And when you're trying to learn, like I said, growing up in school, I was learning these certain things. Okay, I had a teacher at the point who I believe, I may be mistaken, used to be a nun, and then left because she never agreed with the church's stance on same-sex marriage. I think post-Vatican II, something had happened post-Vatican II. I don't know. Now, that's something that would have always stayed with me, because I would interpret that as, well, the church is wrong, because someone whom I'm looking up to, a teacher who's teaching me religion, is telling me that the church has a wrong stance on this. So you become like a sponge. So as sad as it is, I think it's sadder that a lot of Catholics actually don't know.
Well, it goes back to answer your question, what do? We need to form our people. There's no formation. That's what you're saying. When you say someone doesn't know, it's because they're not formed.
Very true.
There needs to be formation in these matters. And it was too late. By the time the same-sex marriage plebiscite came in 2017, we're scrambling to form everyone in 3 months. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I think the church is doing a lot more today.
For sure.
Than what it was doing back then.
Yeah, for sure.
And, yeah.
And it requires involvement from lay people. It's not up to the clergy alone to form everyone. It's up to you primarily to form your children before their school, before church.
Have you ever, there's something on YouTube released, I think in 1960 something, called If I Were the Devil. Have you heard that?
It's been a while, but yeah, I have heard it.
Can you play it?
Yeah, I could.
Because you need to see how accurate this depicts today's society.
There's also a good song called If I Were the Devil. Have you read the Screwtape Letters?
No.
It's a book by C.S. Lewis. It's a senior demon sending letters of advice to a junior demon on how to be a demon. Very small book. It's really good. The Screwtape Letters, highly recommended.
Let me make note of it. So this was released in
1965.
Screwtape Letters.
You want me to play it? I'm actually working between us. It's not really between us, is it? I just say that automatically. Bain or Bainer. Don't tell anyone. I'm actually working on a talk called If I Were the Devil. And I want to do the whole talk as if I'm the devil. And so everything I'm saying is actually contrary to what I should be saying. It's a little bit unorthodox, don't you think? It is. It is unorthodox. If it's done right, you got to be very clear. You don't just rock up and, But here, let me play this. I've got to make sure the audio picks up as well.
Oh, yeah. You're one of those ones.
What? No, it's just because I'm not signed in. I don't
Okay.
do ads, bro.
Okay.
No. I'm
I was
YouTube.
judging.
No, I'm YouTube Premium all the way.
If I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a
Let me
third of
just
its real
restart
estate.
this.
If I were the devil, if I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old, I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
Yeah, well, I haven't listened to that in a while.
1965.
Yeah.
It's crazy how accurate that is.
Hmm. You know, there's have you heard of Bella Dodd?
Bella Dodd.
So Bella Dodd was part of a United States, I think she was part of the United States Communist Party, or Communist Party of the United States. She ended up converting to Catholicism, baptized by Archbishop Fulton Sheen.
Okay, I think I know who this is.
And she testified to US Congress that she was part of an elaborate scheme to infiltrate the Catholic Church in America.
You did a talk about this once at St. John's.
I mentioned it in a talk, yeah. 1,000 seminarians were infiltrated. She infiltrated with 1,000 seminarians. And the way it was done is these seminarians weren't anti-Catholic. All of them were 98% in line with Catholic teaching, but each one sort of taught a little bit differently about one specific teaching. Each one was a different teaching. And apparently 4 of them became cardinals. And I think the person who knew which of them became cardinals, her name's Alice von Hildebrand. I think I've told you about Alice von Hildebrand.
Yeah, but we haven't gone into much depth about her.
She's, oh man, God rest her soul. If there was...
Is that the one you released the reel on?
Yeah. That first Cornerstone reel.
Yeah.
They got 1.4 million views on TikTok. Yeah. Anyway, Alice von Hildebrand knew her, and she apparently knew who those cardinals were. But yeah, Alice von Hildebrand, highly recommended. She died at 98 years old. She's one of the OG chastity speakers, so to speak. She wrote a great book called Man and Woman, A Divine Invention. And yeah, she's awesome, man. I highly recommend people look her up, Alice von Hildebrand. She's got some interviews. She's got a book called By Love Refined, Letters to a Young Bride as well, which is like each chapter is a letter to this young woman who's just been married, helping her with a different issue in her marriage, sort of giving her advice as a woman. I'm going to shamelessly admit I've read most of it, just because I like. I think it's good to understand how the other side thinks, and
you're a bit of a romantic, aren't you, Francis?
I would guarantee you not one person you'll ever meet would describe me as so. But I'm also interested in just understanding exactly what is going on in the mind of the other side, because it seems quite mysterious to me at times. I grew up 4 boys, 1 sister, and my sister did pretty well at sort of, keeping her opinions to herself and us not knowing exactly how she thinks. So we just assumed,
She was one of the boys.
She was one of the boys. But lo and behold, no, she was an actual feminine female. God bless her. But yeah, Alice von Hildebrand, highly recommend. She's also got another book called The Privilege of Being a Woman. She's spoken very strongly against feminism in pretty much all its forms. Yeah, really one of the OGs. Her husband, his name's Dietrich von Hildebrand, her late husband. His writings, all good?
Yeah, all good.
His writings were some of the inspiration behind Theology, the Body by JP2. So he's a real OG in the church that not many people have heard of.
There was a book you suggested for us to read during COVID. It's called
The Anti-Mary Exposed by Carrie Gress. Great book.
Great book.
Yeah.
Who was the author?
Carrie Gress.
That was probably one of the best books I've ever written, ever read.
Oh, you read it? Yeah.
Yeah, back in COVID.
Yeah, she's been on Matt Fradd's show a couple of times as well. She speaks beautifully about feminism, and it's a much needed conversation. I think once you sort of read her book, you move away from this mindset of, oh no, feminism started with the right intention. It just it sort of got lost along the way. It's like, nah, man, it's rotten to the core. It is absolutely rotten to the core.
Yeah, the first lady that you said,
Alice von Hildebrand.
Before her,
Bella Dodd.
Bella Dodd. Okay, so she helped 1,000 seminarians.
She was part of a scheme to infiltrate the church with 1,000.
Didn't you say that Archbishop Fulton Sheen knew the names of all of the seminarians?
Of the seminarians?
Yeah. Of the people that got put into the church.
I don't know, to be honest. I don't remember.
Okay. I thought I've heard, whether it's from you or someone else, I don't know if it's true, but because these people were ordained, obviously he kept an eye, but he never released the names of the people, or it got handed to the Pope just to make sure they don't bring scandal to the church.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that played out in that sense.
Can you all grab the tissues?
Sure. But yeah, Alice von Hildebrand, man, she's an absolute firecracker. And to top it off, she has this beautiful feminine presence, and yet she's highly intellectual, written countless books. She's an academic, and yet she, at the same time, promotes beautiful feminine virtues. That's more in line with the sort of chastity speakers, I'm interested. Or, like when I say chastity speakers, the chastity space category within Catholicism. You got chastity speakers, right? Like your Jason Everts and your Chris West and Theology, the Body, TOB. There's like the TOB crowd, people that just love, which is fine. It's JP2 did a great job there, but I prefer her stuff. It's a little bit older, still relevant in my view, just doesn't get the same.
So it's Theology of the Body type of
content.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about men and women and all of that. Alice von Hildebrand is the one who said that clip that I made that went sort of viral on TikTok. Alice von Hildebrand says, when a woman conceives at that moment of conception, essentially when the sperm fertilizes the egg, in that moment you have a human being and a soul is infused into the body. And for the soul to be infused, the hand of God must touch that person to infuse that soul. And so a woman experiences something that a man would never experience, which is being touched by the hand of God at the moment of conception.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful, and it was no surprise it went so viral on TikTok. People aren't hearing this stuff, but I spoke about it a little bit with Dr. Robert Haddad. It feels like some people like this, authors and speakers like this, they don't really get they're not as famous just because, fame is man-given. Talent is God-given. Fame is man-given. And sometimes they're just not loud enough. They don't have the right marketing, whatever it is. People don't really pay enough attention to them. But, when you listen to her speak, I can listen to her for hours. And she was that one woman I wish I could have had a cup of tea with one day.
Invite her on the Francis Tamer show.
I wish, man. I wish. But Allah yarhamha, she passed away in 2022.
So how would we go about watching her content? Is it just YouTube?
YouTube, yeah, YouTube. And then she's got heaps of books that you can look up as well. But yeah, she's phenomenal. She's a great presence. She's got a great YouTube video based on her book, Man and Woman, A Divine Invention. And so the interview is called Man and Woman, A Divine Invention. She's been interviewed by this guy. And she speaks very beautifully about men and women and their roles. She says that in her view, abortion is the greatest victory of the devil since original sin. Like she just speaks so strongly against these things, which all these speakers do anyway. But yeah, she's someone in the TOB space, we'll call it, who's a little bit less known, but she's one of the originals. The current chastity speakers, like some of them aren't really my style, man. People like rocking up to a seminar with people and, talking about sex in this weird sort of cringy way sometimes. Like talk about how awesome sex is and like trying to convince everyone that Catholics aren't against sex. It's like, man, it's a bit weird when you do that, like why are we going to talk about it like that, Every second word they say amen. So, well, look, they're doing great work anyway. They have their market, and she definitely has her market. I actually bought a whole box of her book, Letters to a Young Bride, because anytime I'd have like a female friend who gets married or something, I'd always gift it to them, because it's such a great book. And I bought a box because I'm doing a talk at the Chaldean Church, St. Thomas the Apostle, to their women's ministry. My first ever talk to a female-only crowd. So we're going to have security there for sure. But I asked them, what topic do you want? They're like, we want you to talk about marriage. I was like, are you sure you want me to do that? To a room full of women. But they're great. Like they pretty much want to hear it how it is. So I've got a whole box. Maybe we'll take it with me and give them an opportunity to.
How big's the book?
Just a normal sized book. Like it's not a tiny booklet. Like it's decent.
So it's a book.
Yeah, it's a book. It's a book.
Book.
Yeah, and it's great. Like it's each chapter is like, he won't, he doesn't listen to me when I'm talking, and then she, sort of gives advice for how to deal with it, and it's really, really everyday stuff, which is my favorite type of content because I think it's most important for the faithful.
I think it's what resonates with most people.
It's what resonates. Yeah, it's I get asked all the time, Paul. What qualifies you? Like absolutely nothing. Qualified. I'm barely qualified in my field that I work in, let alone in theology and philosophy. But the difference is I don't claim to be a theologian. I don't claim to be a philosopher. And I don't speak about high and mighty stuff, really. I just try and speak about the basic things that are relevant every day to the faithful. And I think that's why my content has been resonating, because I'm just speaking about everyday things that actually affect a person, every single day, rather than the more complex stuff, which is most people are not yet there. And there's people to talk about it when they do get there.
No, I agree. Even with all of your talks there, but you know what the good thing is as well, with your talks, you ask what you want the talk to be about. And then you'll do the research you need in order to do the talk. But you're always, and we said this earlier, you're always referencing church fathers or saints or
always.
Church teaching. So through
we stand on the shoulders of giants, bro. That's the only way to do it. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's good. You're doing well. You're actually doing well. Credit
thanks,
and credit's
bro.
due, Francis.
Thanks, Paulie. Look, we're trying, man. We're trying. We've got to keep pushing. I think, Paulie, I've kept you here long enough on a Saturday night. I know your weekends are pretty busy. You're a social butterfly.
I'm just a peacock. I want to fly.
I don't know what that's from, bro, but I'm going to assume you're quoting him. I'm going to hope you're quoting a movie, man. Otherwise, I'm going to clip just that part. And that's gone straight to Chris Francis.
Hang on. I got to get it.
You don't know what that's from, do you?
What?
That quote?
Yeah, of course I do.
You're gonna
but you
play
don't know
for
what
me.
it is. Why is it going to Chris Francis, but?
Me and Chris exchange videos of you all the time that we save for rainy days.
You're both assholes.
To the SEC. Financial district's under their jurisdiction. Don't you get it? This case is talking to us. I'm a peacock, Captain. You gotta let me fly on this one. You know what, Terry? Let's just settle this.
Yeah, I remember this now.
Francis, thank you very much for having me on.
Thanks for coming on, man. It's I think it's good for people to understand a little bit about the man behind Australia's #1 Maronite podcast. I truly do believe, let me just be clear. I know I smirk, but I do believe you're the #1 Maronite podcast right now. I think what you're doing is awesome. I had someone approach me the other day and they mentioned that since consuming content like what's on this show, and he mentioned you by name, your show, it's actually changed his life in terms of choosing to pursue God with more intent. So what you're doing is awesome. You have great guests. You have great content. I highly recommend anyone listening, Maronite Down Under on YouTube, and jump on their Insta as well. That's where you share the clips from your episodes. And Paul is always working on something new. There's always something coming. There's always an initiative. There's some more to come that's going to be announced hopefully soon. I'll just tease with that a little bit.
Hopefully.
God willing, everything goes to plan. But yeah, bro, thanks for coming on. And hopefully we can, once I get my little screen set up, we can do a little bit more commentary on things that are happening around the world. If anyone should be crazy enough to care about what you and I, of all people, have to say. But
that was good. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Francis.
Thanks, Paulie. Be careful of your thumb there.
That's all right. You're doing well, and that's it. God bless.
Thanks, bro.